Thanks, Dan, and a very good evening to you wherever and however you're listening to TalkSport 2. It's nice to see Vale Park full again. Talk about Swindon's recent problems. Well, Port Vale themselves have not long come out of a long, dark tunnel of poor performances and poor relationships between fan and board. But the Norman Smurthwaite era ended a couple of years ago when the Shanahan family bought Port Vale. Darryl Clark was brought in, and he has masterminded a campaign that sees Port Vale with a chance to get back to League One after 5 consecutive seasons at this level. Swindon had 7 players when Ben Garner took over in the summer after the tempestuous 8-year reign of Lee Power was brought to an end when Clem Morfini bought the club. He too has masterminded Garner an excellent season for the Robins, and they have the 2-1 lead. Remember, as they arrive here at Vale Park, knowing that Mansfield lie in wait. Quick run through the teams for you. Port Vale make 3 changes from that first leg. Benning, Taylor and Harrott are brought in by Darryl Clark. Aidan Stone the keeper, Nathan Smith, Connor Hall and James Gibbon to the back 3. David Worrell, Tom Pett, Jake Taylor and Marvin Benning in midfield. Ben Garrity in behind Kieran Harrott and James Wilson up front. For Swindon, unchanged from the 2-1 win, Lewis Ward the keeper, Mandela Egbo, Mathieu Baudry, Dion Conroy and Ellis Iandolo in the back 4, Jack Payne, Lewis Reed and Johnny Williams in midfield, and Harry McCurdy, the former Valiant, alongside Josh Davis, David Davison and Louis Barry up front. Our referee Seb Stockbridge blows his whistle and all players take the knee to signify the continuing fight against racial injustice in our game and in our society. We're underway on TalkSport 2. Swindon in their change strip of yellow shirts and socks and green shorts. Port Vale, who are attacking the Bycar stand away to our right in this first half, where the Swindon fans are somewhat unusually here at Vale Park. Vale all in white. And straight away young Jake Taylor is brought down by Jack Payne, and Port Vale have an early free kick in this first minute, midway point of the Swindon half. 0-0. 2-1 on aggregate, remember, to Swindon Town.
It's a fantastic area this for a free kick as well. It's a positive start for Vale, making sure that they're going forward, attacking, and they've got to do that early doors obviously because of the aggregate score, but this is a fantastic position for a free kick.
Well, James Wilson and Jake Taylor are both standing over the ball. It's just to the left of centre, and all the players appear to be amassed within the width of the D at the edge of the area, waiting for this delivery. It's Wilson who clips it into the area, only headed across the box, kept alive by Connor Hall, but McCurdy, the former Vale player, getting the boos already, drives out to the right hand side and he forces Connor Hall to slide in and put it behind for a Swindon Town goal kick. Swindon, the best away record in League 2 this year. Nobody could match what the Robins did away, Courtney.
Yeah, and I think that's just going back to that free kick. It's a poor free kick, and Garrity made a fantastic run at the back stick. As you say, they're all bunched in the middle of the box, but he made a fantastic run to the back stick, but just couldn't find him with the poor delivery on the free kick.
That's Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, you can hear alongside me Ian Danter on commentary. Just completed the season with Sheffield United women. So she can eat what she wants now, at least for the time being.
Don't tell the gaffer.
Of course, Redders won't be listening. Free kick to Port Vale. We played 2 minutes on TalkSport 2, and it's right in front of our commentary position, just inside the Swindon half as we sit towards the back of the bottom tier of the Lawn Street stand. Tom Pett runs over the ball, and David Worrell delivers the ball into the Swindon box, headed up in the air and over the bar. And it was James Wilson that got the head on it, but the Swindon keeper, Lewis Ward, knew it was not troubling him whatsoever, and Swindon have a goal kick, 0-0.
Yeah, it was going to have to be a really good header from there. He's probably about 16 yards out, and the way that Worrell curled that ball back in, it was a little bit behind him there, Davidson, so it would have, Wilson, it would have had to been a spectacular header there because he had to put all the power onto it.
Well, Swindon have barely had a touch in this opening couple of minutes, and David Worrell looks down the right hand side for young Kean Harrott, and he forces Dion Conroy to head the ball out of play for a throw, which finds Harrott down the right hand side to the byline, pulls it back. He was looking for Ben Garrity, but it wouldn't find him, Swindon got it clear, but this is a good start from Vale at 0-0.
Yeah, it's a fantastic start, and Gibbons there, fantastic in terms of getting the ball quick, playing the quick throw into Harrott down that line, and Swindon just switched off. They wasn't realising the urgency in the play with Port Vale.
Worrell with a short throw to Tom Pett. Gives it back to the right winger, David Worrell. First time cross, deep to the far post, headed across. Wilson's turned it wide from 2 yards out. Massive chance for James Wilson to bring Port Vale level, or in almost exactly the same position from where he scored late onto the county ground. Somehow he screws it wide. What a chance. 0-0 it stays on TalkSport 2.
It's a massive chance. It's a fantastic ball in from Worrell. Absolutely brilliant the way he whips it in, the pace and the power on it. Headed back across, does the right thing. And it's one of those, it's easier to miss it. It's, he's only 5 yards out, and I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to come across it with his left foot, but I think he just scuffs it, and instead of getting a good contact on it, as I say, he scuffs it and it just goes past the post. It's a really big chance early on, that is.
Goal kick taken by the Swindon back line, and Ellis Yandolo just gets the better of Worrell. Plays the ball up to halfway, but that's intercepted by James Gibbons, who's thundering down this near side and finds Worrell again on the right wing for Vale. Another deep cross from the number 7, goes beyond everyone to the far post, but it's picked up, rolled back to Garrity, tees up Taylor at the edge of the area, shot is blocked by Jack Payne. It's all action from Port Vale in these opening 5 minutes. Now down the left hand side, is it kept in play by Mal Benning? It is, but the expense of a throw to Swindon, and again Wilson was nearly onto a cross pull back from the left hand side. Swindon at 6s and 7s at the back here in these opening exchanges, but it's still 0-0.
Yeah, and that's credit to Port Vale though. The way they've started, it's been absolutely electric. It really has been a brilliant start, and obviously with the aggregate score being 1 down on the night, that's what they need, a quick start, and it's been a frantic first few minutes, hasn't it?
5 gone on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs. This is the League 2 semi-final second leg. You heard Mansfield win last night at Northampton to go through to the Wembley showpiece. Port Vale, who had won 8 and drawn 1 before losing 4 of their last 5. Their only win in their last 5 came at title-chasing Exeter on the final day of the regular season. They won down in Devon to deny Exeter the title. Matt Taylor, the Exeter manager, is here tonight, keeping a watching brief, but he doesn't have to worry about the playoffs. Exeter have finally done it and got automatic promotion after so many heartaches in the playoffs. Somebody's going to be heartbroken tonight. Swindon coming forward for the first time. Lovely ball by Jack Payne to pick out who else but McCurdy, getting the boost as he gets down the right hand side of the box away to our left hand side at the Hamill Road end. Jack Payne takes over at the edge of the area, forced wide by Taylor, picks out the cross from Egbo, claims for handball, half-hearted claims for handball. Ben Garner is giving the 4th official plenty down beneath us. Corner's been given in the end, first corner of the game, and it's the Swindon Town at 0-0.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there's a massive shout. I mean, from here it's difficult for us to see. It's over the other side of the pitch, but it did look like it potentially struck a hand, but then we're talking about unnatural positions, and we won't go into that, will we, Dance?
It's a VAR-free zone.
Thankfully.
Although, when one of these two teams gets to the final, they will have VAR to contend with at Wembley Stadium. And that's a debate for another day as well. 7 minutes gone on TalkSport 2, 0-0. Swindon with a corner kick, flicked on at the near post by Davison, and Wilson whacks it clear, and Cian Harrott is going to try and isolate Egbo on halfway and try and get past him, but that's good defending by Mandela Egbo, the right back for Swindon, forcing Harrott wide, and the ball eventually goes out of play for a Port Vale throw. 0-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate to Swindon.
Yeah, it's really good defending there by Egbo in terms of just delaying the play so his teammates can get back with him.
James Gibbons has had an excellent first few minutes playing on the right hand side of the back 3 for Vale. Finds Worrell again. Worrell with a deep cross. Harrott can bring it down. Far post. Tries to lob it to the far post. Comes off Egbo. Wilson! He's done it this time! He missed 2 minutes ago, but no mistake at all for James Wilson this time. He tucks it away from 2 yards out after Cian Harrott spotted him across the face of goal, and Port Vale have cancelled out Swindon's lead inside 8 minutes at Vale Park. It's all square at 2-2 on aggregate. Port Vale 1, Swindon 0.
Well, I was talking about Egbo there and how well he's defending. He did defending from Harrop, but this time he gets caught under the ball. I think he needs to do better. Harrop does really well, doesn't panic, takes the ball down, gets it back across, and then Wilson is there. He's not let that missed chance get in his head. You know, that's easily done as a forward when you know you've missed the golden chance, but no mistaking it there. Comes across, left-footed, gets a good contact on it, and gets Port Vale back in the tie.
All square then, inside 10 minutes on your home of the EFL playoffs, and once again smoke bombs have been thrown onto the pitch away to our left at the Hamill Road stand end, and the stewards are just getting rid of them, so the smell of sulphur will hit our nostrils before too long here in the main stand. But this place is jumping, as you might expect, having not had the best of it at the county ground on Sunday lunchtime. Port Vale are level on aggregate, and remember, away goals do not count double in the playoffs, haven't done so for a very long time. Here's Vale again with Jake Taylor, raking diagonal ball over the head of Wilson, but Worrell will keep it in play and wins a corner off Iandolo. My word, the Valiant's tails are up here. Not even 10 minutes gone, and they're trying to push to go in front in the tie.
It's a fantastic crossfield ball to find Worrell there, and Darryl Clark, he must be absolutely ecstatic with the start that his team's made in this first 10 or so minutes. It's been absolutely brilliant, and to get their noses ahead, they really deserve it.
First corner of the game for Port Vale then at the Bycar stand away to our right-hand side. That's where the Swindon fans are this evening. So Worrell, a right-footed out-swinger, a clutch of players around the penalty spot. It's played on the deck. And it tried to give it back to him, did James Wilson. But a bit of a shanked effort to give it back to David Worrell, and just drifted straight behind for a goal kick. And there's the smell of sulphur.
Yes, it's just hit us, hasn't it, unfortunately?
There's a little haze over the far side of the ground in front of the railway stand where that smoke bomb was let off in the wake of James Wilson's opener. That's brought us level on aggregate here. Don't forget Everton Crystal Palace is underway in the Premier League. Live on TalkSport in the next 5 minutes. They'll be underway at Villa Park for Villa against Burnley. Sam Matterface, your commentator there. And Chelsea Leicester City also getting underway at 8 tonight in the Premier League, as everyone catches up ahead of the final weekend. Sunday afternoon, we'll have 2 games for you on TalkSport. All games kick off at 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and we'll have live games on TalkSport and TalkSport 2 where the big stories are. There's so much left to decide. We'll see how much else there is left to decide after tonight. Meantime, back to the important matters here. Swindon, a goal down on the night. It's level on aggregate, but Town have won a free kick out on the far side, almost level with the Port Vale penalty area, and a chance to swing the ball in the box here, according to Sweeman Kirk.
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity. Also, just to manage the moment of the game as well. To say this Port Vale start has been absolutely electric, so it's time for Swindon just to take their time over this set piece and take some of the onus off of Port Vale.
Yeah, Lewis Reed is standing over the free kick, and he may well be the favourite to swing it in. In fact, he leaves it. It's swung into the near post and headed out at the back by the Connor Hall, the centre half for Port Vale. Swindon trying to keep it alive at the left-hand corner of the penalty area. It's brought down by Louis Barry, but he's Ben Garrity straight on him to win it back. And they are winning most of the second balls at the minute, Port Vale.
Yeah, they're definitely on the front. Garrity has been absolutely fantastic. He's been everywhere, hasn't he, on this pitch already? I feel like he's covered every blade of grass, and we're only 13 minutes in.
And I was here for the Newport game in the league, and I don't think I said his name in commentary for pretty much the first half an hour. He did get a goal back to give Port Vale a sniff that day before Newport eventually ran out 2-1 winners here. But Garrity was quite anonymous that game, but him and Gibbons in particular have been very much front and centre of what has all been good about Port Vale in his opening 13 minutes, which have now elapsed. On TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs. Then we got the League One final on Saturday. 3 o'clock kickoff on TalkSport, Sunderland against Wycombe Wanderers. Mickey Gray, I promise you, is going to be straight down the middle as our pundit alongside Sam Matterface. Well, if you believe that, you believe anything. I wonder how Wycombe will cope with VAR, because Wycombe, they're a proper physical team who get stuck in.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think all the way through the competition there's not been VAR, so personally it doesn't really matter what I feel, but it's a strange one, I think, to put it in for the final, although because it's such a big game, integrity of the competition, interesting maybe.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but again, my opinion doesn't matter either. Ben Garrity stayed down here for Port Vale. Meantime, that's what the boos are for, as Swindon have possession. It's not a head injury, so Swindon don't have to put the ball out of play. And Johnny Williams picks the ball up on halfway for Swindon. Out to the left-hand side, and Iandolo. Garrity's very slowly picking himself up and hobbling away from inside his own half. And will play on. 1-0 to Vale. So 2-2 on aggregate. Headed out of play by Connor Hall as a diagonal ball. Tried to seek out Harry McCurdy on that right-hand side for Swindon. He thought about going to that railway stand to pick up the ball right in front of the fans that used to support him, but he thought better of it.
Yeah, probably a wise decision there.
And instead it will be Mandela Egbo to take the throw-in on the right-hand side for Swindon. Looking for McCurdy at the edge of the area, but Connor Hall stepped in front of him and just toe-poked it back out for another throw in exactly the same position. Down by the corner flag, right-hand side. Quarter of an hour gone on TalkSport 2. If you're just tuning in to the EFL Playoffs live, it's Port Vale 1, Swindon 0 on the night, meaning it's 2-2 on aggregate. Egbo with a throw into the area. Josh Davison holds it up, gives it back to Egbo, level with the edge of the area, right-hand side, plays in McCurdy down the right-hand side of the box, tries to pull it across the face, he got it deflected behind by Jake Taylor, I think, back defending for a second corner of the game to Swindon Town away to our left. 1-0 Vale.
It's interesting, isn't it, in this first 15 minutes or so, it's probably the first continuous spell of possession that Swindon have had in the Vale half.
So a corner kick down the left-hand side for Jack Payne to strike into the near post. It's flicked on, and it actually fell for Nathan Smith. And Vale just thump it clear and ask Cian Harrott to give chase. Really winning runner, the youngster from Huddersfield on loan here at Port Vale, but between Dion Conroy and Mandela Egbo, Swindon Town deal with it. Now Johnny Williams, just ahead of the centre circle, drifting into the inside right position. Such a clever, tricky player, Johnny Williams. Gives the ball back to Egbo on halfway. Conroy seeks out the ball down the left-hand side for Louis Barry, but that's intercepted quite comfortably by the industrious James Gibbons, who's hustling forward once again for Port Vale. Looks for Harriott on the far side. Cushion header down, brings Malvin Benning into the game. Left-hand corner of the box. Just lays it off to Jake Taylor. Taylor with the ball in, looking for Wilson, who tried to make a run to the far post. It's headed away by Swindon, but kept alive by the Valiants, and they win a throw just in front of our commentary position with 16 minutes gone. Vale 1, Swindon 0.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying to do there. It's a fantastic run by Wilson on the back shoulder, but it gets cut out, and earlier in the play as well, Cian Harriott doing so well as well. He doesn't let that ball go. It was a difficult header, but manages to keep it in play and nod it back to Benning, his teammate.
Cian Harriott, who scored his first league goal for Port Vale against Swindon in the 3-1 defeat here at the start of 2022. And it's his assist that found James Wilson for the opener tonight. Now Worrell's been fouled again right in front of our commentary position, midway point of the Swindon half, brought down by Louis Barry, and Port Vale have a free kick tight to this near touchline as they attack the Baikar stand in this first half. 1-0 they lead.
Initially I think Harriott, he wanted the foul. It was probably 10 yards further in. I don't know whether Seb Stockbridge, the referee, didn't think it was a foul or played the advantage because it fell to Worrell, but it's still a very good position. Five yards or so up from the 18-yard box, wide right on the touchline nearest us in the press box today.
Pett and Worrell standing over the free kick. Pett runs over the ball, so right-footed delivery from Worrell. Flick to the far post by Garrity, but It was a good 2 or 3 yards in front of any other white-shirted player making their way into the box, and in the end it just drifts behind for a Swindon Town goal kick. They scored 42 goals in the regular season, Swindon. The most away wins with 13, the most away goals. They only lost at Leyton Orient, at Barrow, at Mansfield, at Tranmere, Exeter and Crawley. Picked up points everywhere else on the road this season.
Fantastic, but I think what you've seen today with Vale is they've taken the game away from Swindon in this first 19 minutes. They've hardly given them a chance to breathe. Vale have had so much possession of the ball, so Swindon, they've not really done much wrong. It's just that Vale have taken the game away from them in these opening minutes.
Still goalless in the Premier League games that are now all underway, including the 2 8 o'clock kickoffs. Villa Burnley, that's live on TalkSport right now, and Chelsea Leicester, that's goalless, and so too Everton against Crystal Palace. 1-0 here to Port Vale with 19 minutes gone on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs. And it's a free kick to Swindon Town that's been awarded midway point of the Vale half, about 5 or 6 yards in from this near touchline, with Swindon attacking the Hamill Road stand, which is packed with Vale fans tonight, and it's just chipped into the area looking for Harry McCurdy. It's almost found by Lewis Reed. Very clever free kick, headed away by Port Vale, and now McCurdy giving chase down the left hand side, kept in play, and it's found Lewis Reed once again, who spots Mandela Egbo in bags of room on the far side of the field, just over the halfway line. Diagonal ball from Egbo up to the edge of the area, headed away by Worrell at the expense of a throw to Swindon Town level with the Vale box. 19 gone, in fact 20 minutes gone now on TalkSport 2. 1-0 Port Vale, 2-2 on aggregate. Yeah,
and it's a nice idea from Egbo there, isn't it? The cross-field ball is trying to find Louis Barry on that left-hand side, and I think switching the play, especially with the width that Vale play with those wing-backs, if you can switch the play quickly, that's probably one of the areas that you can exploit tonight.
TalkSport breakfast back in the morning with Alan Brazil, Ray Parlour and Trevor Sinclair, the usual Friday crew, which means an episode of Postman Al is almost certain in the final hour. You have to listen to that just for the theme tune and hear Ray Parlour and Trevor Sinclair singing. It's an education for a musician such as myself to hear Ray and Trevor on the mic, as it were. What's your singing voice like, Courtney Sweetman Kirk?
Yeah, you don't need to hear that on a Friday morning, let's put it that way.
That's from 6 in the morning. Plenty to digest and plenty to look forward to with the weekend's Premier League finale with Alan, Ray and Trevor from 6, and Natalie Sawyer's in for Jim White, who's stuck in Malaga apparently. So it's Natalie Sawyer with Simon Jordan, Martin Keown tomorrow from 10 a.m.
Could be worse places to be stuck.
That all depends. Could be tipping it down with rain out there, you just don't know. No. Although, knowing Malaga, it's got its own kind of microclimate there, isn't it? It's been a nice evening here in Staffordshire, I have to say. Very pleasant afternoon, but the sun has setting behind the clouds away to our right behind the Bicar stand. Floodlights starting to take an effect. 21 and a half minutes gone. 1-0 to Port Vale. That early goal inside 10 minutes from James Wilson, bringing us level on aggregate, and a shot goes on the edge of the post. Well, that came forward for Nathan Smith at the left-hand corner of the box, and the centre half just swiveled and hit a right-footed shot that had Lewis Ward grasping for air, and it clipped the outside of his left-hand post and went behind for a goal kick. What an effort from the centre half.
Wow, something out of absolutely nothing there, and as you say, from the centre half, any forward would have been proud of that, the way that he turns and swivels so quickly. Absolutely no backlift on the shot, and just looking to curl it in that right hand corner as he's looking at it there across the keeper Ward, and luckily the post comes towards rescue.
Benning coming forward now for Port Vale. Harriet down the left hand side of the area, tries to swing it into the area for Garrity. Garrity has the ball taken off his toe by Lewis Reed. Up the ball goes to McCurdy. McCurdy fires it back to Egbo, and the right back looks for Josh Davison downfield. Ball's out of play. Couple of goals in the Premier League. Chelsea 0, Leicester 1. James Maddison puts Leicester in front, and this is a massive goal. Everton 0, Crystal Palace 1. Jean-Philippe Mateta puts Crystal Palace in front at troubled Everton. It's a massive goal at Goodison Park. We'll keep you in touch with that. Villa Burnley is underway live on Talk Sport right now. Sam Matterface is your commentator, but that's 0-0 in that rearranged fixture. That was the one I went to, but it was called off at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon because suddenly Burnley had a number of severe COVID cases within the camp, so they had to cancel the fixture with literally 2 hours to kick off that Saturday afternoon. Now, free kick for Swindon Town. Where is Swindon going wrong here, Courtney Sweetman-Cook? We're midway through the first half and they just haven't got a foothold in this game. Why?
I think you've sometimes just got to look at the other team in terms of Vale and just the way they started. I think, they've took Swindon a little bit by surprise. I'll be honest, the start was that electric. It took me by surprise, the way that they're getting their wing backs forward, particularly Worrell on this right hand side as we're looking at it, doing really well, and that's taking the Swindon players out the game. I think it's got better as time's gone on, and they're taking a bit of time in terms of getting the possession, but now even when you look at it, they're getting the ball, Swindon, going forward, and I know they like to go forward, but it's not with any purpose at times. And you see the Vale fans now on their feet, they're getting behind their side, and it's just a hostile environment for Swindon at the moment.
Well, Andy Crosby just handed the ball back to Joe Worrell. Can't see Darryl Clark down there, just down beneath us in the Port Vale dugout. Of course, he had a spell away for a family bereavement, but he came back for the Exeter game to retake his place, and it's his charges that lead here on the night and have brought us level at 2-2 on aggregate, and they are fighting for every single ball, Port Vale. They are not giving Swindon a moment's rest. The Robins have won a throw-in in their left back position, pretty much level with the edge of their own penalty area, but if Port Vale can keep up these levels of energy, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, then Swindon have got their work cut out here.
Well, exactly, that's the question, isn't it? It's been so frenetic, the start. Can they keep this up? But again, you see Swindon, they've got the throw in and then they give away possession cheaply. When they obviously regain possession, they need to keep it for longer periods of time. But I think Vale have been quite clever in terms of, you say, about the energy. There's been a bit of a lull probably for the last 5, maybe 10 minutes, but then you've seen it's almost like a switch has gone. They've regrouped, they've got a bit of energy again, and then they're really pressing Swindon. So I think the game plan is very clever.
1-0 to Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs. Now, Johnny Williams for Swindon as they come forward into the Vale half, down this near side, the left. Swung out to the right hand side by Lewis Reed to pick out Egbo. Back for the two centre halves, Baudry and Conroy, and now Ian Dolo, the left back, just shy of the halfway line. Rolls it into the path of Louis Barry, but they've got to go back to Conroy and then all the way back to the keeper, applauded by the locals as Swindon are forced back to their own goalkeeper, and the pressure that James Wilson put on Lewis Ward forced the Swindon keeper to just shank it out of play on the far side of the railway and stand for a throw.
And yeah, you just see that passage of play. It's very interesting because as soon as the ball goes backward, Vale players are inching forward, they're on the front foot, ready to see a weakness, and then you see it there. When it goes back to Ward and it maybe looks a little bit short, or they think they can press him, they go all together as the unit, and especially because it's a mismatch of formations in terms of, Swindon are playing the 4 at the back, which means that because Vale have got the 4 across the midfield, they're overrunning Swindon, and especially because they're getting bodies forward and they're always first to the ball, then they're getting overrun, and it's leaving the likes of McCurdy and Davidson very isolated up there.
You're listening to the EFL playoffs live on TalkSport 2 with McDonald's Fun Football. Search McDonald's Fun Football to find out more. We played 27 minutes. Ian Dancer and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk with you. Port Vale leading Swindon by a 0 on the night through James Wilson with his 10th goal of the season. It's 2-2 on aggregate, and Ben Garner just calling for calm just down to our left hand side, the Swindon boss at the edge of his technical area. And it's hit long downfield from the goal kick this time by Lewis Ward, looking for Josh Davison, goes over his head. Louis Barry trying to get the better of Gibbons, but Gibbons has won everything so far tonight in the white shirt of Port Vale. Had to play for a throw on the far side for Swindon Town, which Jack Payne wants to take quickly. Does throws it back in for Mandela Egbo. Goes back for Mathieu Baudry. Conroy now just by the centre circle, under pressure from Harrit. Squares the ball to his left for Elisiandolo. He plays a 1-2 with Barry and moves into the middle of the Vale half. Elisiandolo went for goal and that hit Nathan Smith. I was right behind that. That was on its way. It's only come out to Jack Payne though. Swindon still have it. McCurdy down the right hand side of the area, getting the booze. He's got Egbo on an overlap. Elects not to use him, tries to drive it goalwards. It comes out to the far side and Egbo lets it go out for a throw. But that shot from Elisiandolo, that was destined for the postage stamp, and Nathan Smith just put his big slab forehead in the way, Courtney Sweetman.
Yeah, it was definitely travelling, wasn't it? But
across the face of the area, looking for Davison, headed away by Worrell. As Swindon keep coming, apologies, Courtney, but suddenly Swindon were in the box there from nowhere from that throw-in. Port Vale trying to protect the ball at their own corner flag. Oh, good skill from James Wilson. Flicked the ball up in his own corner flag and volleyed it up to halfway, where Cian Harritt's giving Mathieu Baudry a torrid time. But you were saying, Courtney?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Smith is just brave, isn't it? Getting himself in the way, and again, Swindon giving away possession.
Tom Pett winning it this time. Chipping it down the right-hand side for David Worrell. He nicks it in field to Cian Harritt. Works it back to halfway. There were claims for a foul on Worrell, but referee Stockbridge allowed play to continue. And both managers very animated. Well, Andy Crosby's out there and Ben Garner rather than Darrell Clark, but they're both animated for very different reasons down there, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, I think from the Vale point of view, it's keeping them going, keeping this high energy up, whereas Swindon, they've got to find a way to match Vale at the moment, but they're nowhere near.
Now Garrity trying to roll Iandolo at the edge of the area, but good defending from the Swindon number 3. And he rolls it back to Lewis Reed. Iandolo again, but he's got James Wilson preventing him from getting down the line, but that's a good ball in field for Egbo, the right back, who's pushed in field. He then gets dispossessed by Benning. Back comes Jack Payne and he gets fouled. Swindon have got to start matching Port Vale for the aggression and the tempo and the desire to win the ball back, because they're coming off second best all too often here, and they trail by a goal to nil, but still level on aggregate. And we know how good Swindon have been away from home all season.
Again, you see that, the long ball, Iandolo, it's speculative at best, looking for no one, but you've got to appreciate this Vale press, the forward press, and the way it was explained to me as a youngster is it's like pistons, and you see it once one goes, the next one goes. It's like it's all in sync, and that's what Vale are doing tonight.
What's the trigger movement then? What is there a signal? Is there something you're looking for that is that trigger movement that makes those Vale plays go?
Very potentially. So you see there, it's a slow square ball, so Mal Benning knows that he can affect it, he can go and get it, and once Mal Benning goes, then the next one goes. They all come forward. The back three, we say, are on a piece of string, so once Mal Benning goes, he pulls everyone else around as well, and they're just in
Cian Harritt into the box, left hand side for Vale, drives it across, and Wilson is nearly there, but what a saving challenge from Elisiandolo, pushing him from left back. Wilson in the position he's been twice before already this half. Thought he could stroke the ball home again, but Elisiandolo turned it behind for a Vale corner away to our right hand side. 1-0 to the Valiants, 2-2 on aggregate.
Vital interception, that, just getting the toe to that ball, because as you say, David in that position again, Wilson, where he just could have stroked it home in exactly the same position where he scored the goal, but Iandolo just gets there in the nick of time.
Worrell, right wing corner, up it goes to the far post, headed down by Nathan Smith, headed up and half cleared by Josh Davison, drops at the edge of the area, nodded back in by Harritt. Bit of head tennis around the edge of the box. Where's he going to drop? Offside flag goes up against the Vale player, and the referee has spotted it, and Swindon get themselves a free kick. God, that was head tennis, and there was panic inside that Swindon box. They've got to settle down, Swindon Town, from their perspective.
But again,
Egbo's just hit a long ball downfield, giving McCurdy very little to work with.
He's got so much to do there, McCurdy, whereas I know that there's a bit of urgency about them, and it's hard to take the emotion out of the game, because on the night they're losing, but realistically they're drawing at the moment. It's 2-2 and they're playing like they're down, and this is where then the emotion, the mentality gets into your mind. They're playing like they're chasing the game when actually they're on a level footing, and that's when you do things be a little bit silly in terms of the loss of possession, playing long balls when you don't need to. Swindon needs to start playing it through midfield a little bit more, or at least string 2 or 3 passes together, because as a forward player you don't know when to start your runs, because you're trying to set your run off the midfielder. But, you know, the forward players there of Swindon, Davidson, McCurdy, Barry, they've got no time to set themselves and try and make an intelligent run, because the ball, for want of a better phrase, is getting lumped forward.
Ben Garrity trying to make a nuisance of himself at Port Vale. We've played 33 minutes of this first half on TalkSport 2. It's 2-2 on aggregate, with Vale 1-0 up on the night. Here on your home of the EFL playoffs, Swindon looking to release Harry McCurdy down the right-hand side of the box. Connor Hall's gone out to engage him. So McCurdy runs away from the right-hand corner of the box, keeps possession, brings in Egbo, first on cross into the near post, and a very comfortable claim for Aidan Stone. Pretty much the first thing the Port Vale keeper's done all night. 1-0 to the Valiants. And Nathan Smith has gone down under pressure from a Swindon player. Off is the chant.
McCurdy, actually, I think he pushed him. There was no, it's obviously frustration boiling over, but there was just absolutely no need.
That's Josh Davis, and that's who's being spoken to by Seb Stockbridge. In fact, straight from the kick-off, I don't know whether you saw it, but somebody, I think it might well have been Worrell, barged into Johnny Williams, who was on the deck within 5 seconds of the game getting underway.
Yeah, setting out your stall.
Well, no yellow card for Josh Davison for that little shove on Nathan Smith, but we'll keep an eye on those two for the rest of the game.
Yeah, but I think you can see for Vale, they've been doing it, as you say, from the kick-off, from that moment, and I think, you know, they've rattled Swindon.
1-0 to Vale on the night. 2-2 on aggregate. Into the area it goes. Cian Harriott can't get a piece of it. Worrell sends the ball back across the vesicle. Wilson tries to tee it up for Jake Taylor. It's cleared away by Swindon, but Vale again trying to get to the second ball, and they've done it. David Worrell, he's dispossessed by Louis Barry. That's good skill from Louis Barry, and the Villaloni now drives into the Vale half, tries to thread it through for McCurdy, but it's picked up at the edge of the area by Aidan Stone. It's just swung from end to end there on TalkSport 2, but Vale still lead 1-0.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? This is why we love the playoffs, because it just brings all the emotion, all the passion and the franticness, everything that we love about football.
You ever played in the playoffs?
Unfortunately not.
Be great if they get that sorted. You know, if the WSL and the Championship can get that sort, and of course, as the leagues build, you know, we've seen just how many fans turned up to watch Newcastle women just a week or two ago at St James's Park. What was it, 20-odd thousand? Amazing. Yeah, get the playoffs into the women's game. Now across from the right-hand side from Tom Pett, looking for Malvin Benning, but he's picked up quite comfortably in the end by the goalkeeper. Big goal at Goodison Park, and it's gone Crystal Palace's way again. Everton 0, Crystal Palace 2, Jordan Ayew, and he doesn't get many, but he scored a second, and Frank Lampard's men are in serious stuck right now, and they go to Arsenal on final day. Remember, Arsenal have got their own agenda on Sunday afternoon, with fourth place on their minds, and they'll be hoping that Tottenham go all Spursy at Norwich. We'll cover the final day for you on TalkSport and TalkSport 2, with two live commentaries on TalkSport and TalkSport 2, and reporters around the ground to all the other games.
Isn't it brilliant in terms of that final day as well? There's so much to play for at both ends to the table. It's really going to be an exciting finish. Title,
top four, relegation, Europe, all to play for. Still 0-0 at the minute between Aston Villa and Burnley, incidentally. But Leeds fans will be delighted to hear that Everton are in the position they're in. But Villa are goalless. That's live on TalkSport right at the moment. But here on TalkSport 2, 7 minutes to half-time. Port Vale head the ball into the Swindon box again. It's just that little hesitation from the back four of Swindon, but the ball did bounce through to Lewis Ward eventually. 1-0 to Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. And whoever's in the Swindon dressing rooms at the moment is putting plenty of sugar in that tea at half-time, because they need a lift. They
definitely do. I think they've struggled to cope with the energy that Vale have, and I will say this again, put on them, because this isn't by accident. And you know, you've got to appreciate the way that Port Vale have they force mistakes. Nearly another one there.
Well, Baudry almost dispossessed in the middle of his own half by James Wilson, but he did find Egbo, who goes out to the right hand side, and McCurdy. Back it goes to Mathieu Baudry, can square it for Dion Conroy at the edge of the centre circle. Again he looks for McCurdy, but that was well dealt with by Connor Hall at the back. But then Benny's dispossessed by McCurdy. The two number 11s in direct competition there, and Swindon have the ball out on the far side of the field, but McCurdy forced to go back to the halfway line, but he scurries back into position and wins a free kick for Swindon Town, which they've taken quickly and rolled back into their own half. Iandolo pushing forward again into the Port Vale half, works the ball in field to Josh Davison. Williams standing in space on the left hand side, but Iandolo just trying to twist and turn his way past Tom Pett. Now here's Williams getting to the byline left hand side for Swindon, elects to check back and roll the ball back to Iandolo. In support now is Louis Barry down the left hand side of the area. Williams left hand corner of the box, right footed ball, sails over the head of McCurdy, and Benning will protect it out of play for a Port Vale goal kick. Just over 5 to the break. It's Port Vale 1, Swindon 0 on your home of the EFL playoffs, Talk Sport 2. That makes it 2 each on aggregate. Here's Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
And it's getting to that vital time, isn't it, Dance, in terms of 5 minutes before half time. The last thing now that either team want to do is concede. So I think the next 5 minutes will probably be slightly cagey. I think obviously Vale will want to go in one up, and Swindon won't want to go in any more down than they are. And I think for me, Swindon, as you say, going in, what needs to change in the second half is in terms of just being a bit more calm and composed on the ball. I get that you need to have urgency because they're down, but we'll see there Iandolo again, just another big ball lumping forward, and Louis Barry has got so much to do to try and get on the end of that. He needs to play a couple of more balls through midfield. And
Garrity playing a long ball downfield, trying to get Wilson away, but between Egbo and Baudry, Swindon Town deal with it comfortably at the back.
You look at Payne as well. You watch him, he's so frustrated because he's making some really good movements sort of in the middle of the pitch on the half turn. You want to play through him first, so you've not got as much to do as a forward line, but they're just not finding him.
Now Payne looks to play the ball out to the left hand side. It almost ran through for Louis Barry. It's cleared away, but it will be a Swindon throw on this near side of the field to us, with Swindon in their change strip of yellow shirts and socks and the green shorts. They're attacking the Hamill Road stand, which is populated with Vale fans away to our left tonight, rather than the usual away supporters. The Swindon fans are in the Bycar stand away to our right. If you're just tuning in, you weren't aware who is where. Myself and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk sat at the back of the bottom tier of the Lawn Street stand, which is a 3-tier stand here at Vale Park, which was once known, you may not know this, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, as the Wembley of the North.
No, news to me. Every day's a school day.
There you go. This was about 100 years ago, though, when Wembley Stadium was the biggest stadium in the country. They felt they needed something similar in the north of the country, and Port Vale was regarded as that. So who heads to the Wembley of the South? At the moment, we don't know, because it's all square on aggregate, with just over 3 minutes of normal time to go in this first half. Vale 1-0 up and dominating proceedings, but we know how good Swindon are away from home. We know they've got goals and invention in them. Egbo on halfway for the Robins, heads it down for Payne. Good ball back in for Mandela. Egbo drives in field just ahead of the centre circle, rolls the ball into the path of Iandolo, the left back, striding forward, clips an early ball into the box, and that's headed behind by Nathan Smith. And Swindon voices now get raised away to our right, because over on the other side of the pitch, the Robins have a corner at 1-0 down.
Yeah, much better playing through the thirds. Williams coming in, dropping in, turning, playing the ball out, switching the play. It's a lot better from Swindon, the build-up.
So it's a corner away where the Lawn Street stand that we're sat in meets the Hamill Road, and Johnny Williams is the man that's going to take it. McCurdy darting in and around the near post. It's flicked on at the near and over the bar. Not really on target. Good run to the near post. I think it was Dion Conroy that got up at the back there, but just couldn't apply the finish that he wanted. And in the end, it's a Port Vale goal kick with 2 minutes of normal time to go. Port Vale 1, Swindon 0. If you're just tuning into EFL Playoffs live on TalkSport 2 here at Vale Park, with 2 apiece on aggregate. Ian Dancer and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk with you. It's going to be a goal kick for Aidan Stone, resplendent in all purple tonight, the Port Vale keeper. And all the players are, well, you could throw a blanket over them. They're pretty much all within 10 yards of each other around the halfway line. Flicked on, trying to get Cian Harriott in behind the Swindon back line. But the away side deal with it, and then Baudry just shanks the ball out of play on the far side for a throw. 1 or 2 supporters around us drifting away to get in the queues in the concourses to get their half-time refreshments. And the queues will be longer than normal tonight because it's a full house pretty much. Throw into Port Vale over on the far side of the field, and as Courtney was saying, Darryl Clark will want to get his players in at least in this position, knowing that everything's level and that they can try and reset for the second half. Played down the left hand side of the Swindon box, but the Robins get it clear. One back though by Mal Benning, half clear, but Jake Taylor fires the ball out to this near side, the Vale right, and Cian Harriott touches it back infield to Taylor, midway point of the half. Worrell now stationed on this right wing, rolls it back 10 yards or so to Gibbons. Taylor looks for Worrell again. Gibbons forced to go back nearer to the halfway line to retrieve the loose ball for Vale, and he hits the ball against Barry, but it ricochets kindly for Jake Taylor. Pett lobs the ball down the right hand side of the box, and Iandolo clears well actually under pressure from Cian Harriott. But there's James Gibbons again, showing real tenacious tackling ability, and he's been helped out by David Worrell, and Vale have it back. We're moving into a minute of minimum added time at the end of this first half, and the applause you hear is for that James Gibbons industry down this near side, Courtney.
Yeah, I love that, and it's what I like about that is it's no impositions as well, because Gibbons has gone forward. David Worrell has dropped in a little bit, and that's where he goes forward, he makes the tackle, protects his teammate, and again, that's about players knowing their positions, and it's not necessarily, it's so set in terms of this is your position and this is mine. It's when you leave the space, everyone just fill in the nearest space, and I really like that from David Worrell.
Harry McCurdy goes to ground on the far side of the field. It's picked up by Jack Payne, trying to dart in field, but again the white shirts of Port Vale win it back, and on halfway down goes Taylor. That's good work from Payne to win it back. Now Swindon can come forward, diagonal ball trying to pick out Louis Barry, but between Worrell and Nathan Smith they calm things down and nod it back to Aidan Stone. 1-0 Vale. Yeah,
and you just see there's a high five between them there, and because, as we say, Vale do play the wing backs and the 3 at the back, Worrell needs to make sure that he gets back in and does his defensive duties, and did it really well there.
Half-time whistle goes, and I don't think the Port Vale fans could be any happier with the way that that's gone, and ditto Darryl Clark, because Vale have cancelled out the lead that Swindon Town brought here to Staffordshire, and James Wilson scored the goal on 8 minutes. He'd missed an absolute sitter not long before, but he stroked the ball home from close range when he was fed by his strike partner Cian Harriott. Wilson almost got a second goal from a similar cross from Harriott, but Iandolo managed to sweep the ball behind for Swindon, and Nathan Smith up from the back also clipped the outside of the post with a wonderful swivel and shot from the left hand corner of the penalty area. Aidan Stone very little to do by contrast in the Port Vale goal. We are right royally set up for a second half here on TalkSport 2 at Vale Park, because the score of the break is Port Vale 1, Swindon 0. That means we are 2-2 on aggregate. Yes, Dan, they're both back out here in Staffordshire, and the assistants and the referee just checking that all 22 are present and that the netting at either end is still as it should be. So Vale in their all-white first choice colours will be heading for the Hamill Road stand in the second half, away to our left where their supporters are tonight. Swindon in their change strip from the normal red and white. They're wearing yellow shirts and socks with green shorts. They'll be attacking the Bycar stand to our right. That's where the Swindon fans are. 2,000 or so made the trip up from Wiltshire, but they will not be happy with what they've seen for that first half. away wins in both fixtures in the league as well. Swindon won 3-1 here in January. Vale won at the county ground in September early in the season, but of course the first leg was a home win for Swindon last weekend. Now, is it 45 minutes to go, or is it more than that? We're back underway on TalkSport 2, and Vale having some defending to do, but thumped downfield by David Worrell and headed up in the air by Mandela Egbo. I'll run you through the lineups in just a minute once the ball is out of play. Ball sent downfield down the left hand side by Dion Conroy for Swindon Town, but headed out by the Port Vale back line. They've got it again with the industrious David Worrell looking for Cian Harriott, but it drops out of play. So the Vale lineup: Stone is the goalkeeper, Smith, Hall and Gibbons in a back three, Worrell, Pett, Taylor and Benning across midfield, and Garrity in behind Harriott and the goal scorer Wilson. For Swindon, 4-3-3, Ward the keeper, Egbo, Baudry, Conroy and Ian Dolo in the back four, Payne, Reid and Williams in midfield, McCurdy, Davison and Barry in the front three. And McCurdy is nearest to us with his Jack Grealish style socks rolled down and presumably 50p pieces for shin pads or something like that. Anyway, he's actually been caught upfield as Malvin Benning looks to get a better of Egbo. That's a good foot in by the Swindon right back and goes out of play for a throw. Still some light around us here at Vale Park. The floodlights are casting more shadows on the playing surface than they were 15-20 minutes ago, but of course we're getting towards late May, longer nights, and it could be a long night here.
It could be a very long night if it stays like this.
Courtney Smith-McKirk has put her hoodie on at half-time. She's sensing the temperature's changing a little bit. You're used to playing in the cold. Surely watching in the cold's no problem.
I'm one of them that wear skins though, Dance. I hate to say it, but I love being warm.
On halfway, Port Vale have it with Malvin Benning, one of the three changes that Darryl Clark made to the Vale starting lineup tonight. And the ball down the left-hand side has forced Dion Conroy to come across and half volley it out of play for a Port Vale throw away to our left as they head for the Hamill Road stand in this second half. And it will be, only 10 yards from the corner flag on this near side once the ball has been retrieved, and finally it is lobbed back out to Mal Benning on this near side. Throws it in early to Wilson, tries to get it back to Benning, but McCurdy smartly on the scene, and then the ball goes out of play off Connor Hall, in actual fact the Port Vale centre half, and so Swindon have the throw this time in their right back position. 1-0 to Vale, 2-2 on aggregate, and we played 3 minutes of this second half on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, and I think this has started a bit more measured, I would say, than the first half, and I think rightly so. It's difficult to keep that sort of energy up for 90 minutes. Obviously there's the aspect of potentially going longer than that, so I think it'll be potentially a more measured approach, but I think Vale again will press it at times when they see fit.
Josh Davison works the ball in field now at the edge of the area. Louis Barry almost got onto it, but brilliant defending from David Worrell. Hit the ball against Louis Barry and it ricocheted behind for a Port Vale goal kick, and he had to be on his game there to make sure that Louis Barry didn't get him behind and give Swindon a real chance at the start of this second period. It's going to be a goal kick for Aidan Stone, the Swindon goalkeeper, who's taken the mantle off Lucas Colavan, who actually got sent off here, Colavan, in the league fixture here in January. That's one of the main reasons why Swindon ran out 3-1 winners that day here. And he likes a red card, Lucas Colavan, so presumably Darryl Clark is thinking that it's a safer pair of hands with Aidan Stone.
Not worth the risk.
It's out of play for a throw for Swindon Town on the far side of the field from us, the railway stand side, which is pretty much full as well. It'll definitely be the biggest crowd of the season here at Vale Park without question for this playoff semi-final second leg that's locked at 2-2 on aggregate. Swindon though coming forward down the left hand side with Ian Dolo. Lovely cross, look at Davison. Oh, he couldn't keep the header down. It was a lovely cross right onto his forehead, just couldn't climb enough at the far post and the header looped over the crossbar harmlessly from the Port Vale point of view for a goal kick away to our right. 1-0 Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate.
I think Davison will be disappointed with that. It's a good ball in. I know Connor Hall is putting him under a little bit of pressure. Hall knows he can't get to the ball, so just nudges him, but I do think that Davidson there could have got a better connection goalwards.
5 gone in the second half. Swindon trying to get themselves level on the night and ahead on aggregate. The ball is with Jake Taylor into the box. It's away. Port Vale under pressure. Gibbons heads it downfield, but kept alive by Lewis Reed for Swindon Town. Now it's with Iandolo pushing again down the left-hand side. We're going to slip in Louis Barry down the left-hand side of the box, but David Worrell had that covered once again. But then Worrell is fouled by Iandolo, and Port Vale get a free kick in their right back position. A reminder, the half-time scores, they're back underway at Everton and at Chelsea. The scores there: Everton 0, Crystal Palace 2, and Chelsea 1, Leicester 1. And half-time, Burnley giving themselves a big lift towards half-time at Villa Park. They lead through an Ashley Barnes penalty, and that win would take them up to 16th place. They will be 2 points clear of lead to a third bottom, so they wouldn't be safe, but they would be in the best possible position even if they can't be safe. 1-0 here to Port Vale, 2-2 on aggregate. And the Vale fans trying to get behind their team as Swindon try and build down the right hand side, but it's frustration again. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, they're trying to get Jack Payne in right hand side. You were mentioning all the runs he was making that weren't being utilised first half. Well, they tried to find him there, but the ball was over here. Yeah,
but at least they're trying. I do think you can hear the Vale fans as well trying to get behind the team, because I think they do realise that Swindon have started this second half markedly better than they did first. They are trying to do the right things. They're playing through the thirds a little bit more, but still not getting it quite right, as you say, in the final third, Dance.
That's Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. You can hear alongside me Ian Dancer on commentary. Courtney, Sheffield United women's striker, double figures for the season, so it should be. That's the minimum, right?
Yeah, of course, it's got to be double figures.
Ball downfield, swallowed up by Ellis Iandolo, the left back for Swindon Town. Hits the ball down the left channel, asking Josh Davison to give chase. He does well, tries to roll Nathan Smith, but Smith just toe pokes the ball out of play for another Swindon throw down the far side. 7.5 gone after the restart. Port Vale 1, Swindon 0 on the night. 2-2 on aggregate.
Davison does well there. It's a bit of a longer ball still, but in terms of the ball to him, it's more measured. It's to his feet in the line of him, so he can try and hold the ball up. And as I say, I think Swindon have started this half markedly better and playing better than they did at any time in the first half.
Ball's drifted out of play for another Swindon throw, but this is further back towards the halfway line for the Robins. Relegated from League One last season, of course, Swindon Town. Been in the top 10 all season. They were in the automatics back in the autumn, but they've fallen down to 11th by April, so it's one heck of a run that they put together under Ben Garner to get back into playoff contention. Whilst Port Vale had no win in their first 4 this season, but then by October they were top 3 themselves. Had one loss in 19 early in 2022 before the poor run that saw them drop out of the automatics, when at times going into the spring they looked set fair for automatic promotion. But here they are with Swindon scrapping for a place at Wembley. Mansfield Town await, and Vale encourages the ball's hit out of play for a throw-in on the far side for David Worrell. My coat's going to have to go on in a minute. I'm starting to feel the slight change in temperature. And Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, she's not saying it, but she's thinking I told you so. Ball headed away by Iandolo. Worrell hooks it back over his head to the edge of the Swindon box, but that's headed clear by Dion Conroy. Connor Hall on halfway for Vale, turns neatly away from a challenge. Now Worrell pushing in field down the right hand side of the box, looking for Ben Garrity, but Swindon got a foot in and brought it clear, and then there's a foul on a Swindon defender, and the Robins get a free kick.
It's brilliant composure there, isn't it, at the back from the centre half. Connor Hall brings it down out the air, then the turn outside hook with the left foot, and then plays it forward calm and composed, and sets Vale on the attack.
1-0 on the night to Vale, 2-2 on aggregate, 10 minutes gone in the second half on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs, and the League One playoff final, Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock, Wickham against Sunderland. Adrian Durham, Sam Matterface and Mickey Gray. There's a yellow card being administered on the far side of the field. Just looking to see who thought it's for a Swindon player.
Yeah, I think it was for Ian Dolo, again getting sort of caught in unnecessary trouble, and I think he pushes one of the Vale players out of frustration.
So a yellow card for Ellis Iandono, and it will give Vale a free kick. And the unison clapping you can hear from the Vale fans. Swindon fans away to right have been pretty quiet all night. They did try and raise their team at the start of the second period, but they've had very little to get their teeth into as a set of travelling supporters tonight.
They have, but it's interesting that change in fans now in this second half, that Town are attacking that end with their own supporters, whether that will play a part in the end.
Level on aggregate, 11 gone in this second half. Port Vale hit a long diagonal ball up to the edge of the area, goes over Keane Harrett's head, but it drops in central midfield. Taylor loses out, and away comes Swindon Town. Oh, lovely skill from Jack Payne on this near touchline, and then he nutmegs Taylor and moves in field. Brilliant stuff from the Swindon number 10. Squares the ball to his left to Johnny Williams, darting run from Williams down the left hand side of the box. Barry trying to make move for a shot, and it's toe poked away by Swindon Town. That was brilliant approach play by Swindon Town, but it didn't come to anything.
So much better, isn't it? Payne does so well.
Now here come Vale at the other end. Garrity swinging it wide left for Keane Harrett, chops into the edge of the area, but across came Egbo and put it out of play for a throw as play swings from one end to the other on TalkSport 2.
It is, as I say, Swindon do so well with that sweeping play. Lovely bit of skill in the mix of it, and then Vale go up the other end.
Cross from the left hand side from Benning is only half cleared by Swindon. Comes out to the midway point of the half. Davison tries to chest it away from Connor Hall, but Smith is there. Just drifts the ball out to the far right hand side, and it's out of play for a Swindon throw. Everton have got a goal back against Crystal Palace. Michael Keane back in the side tonight makes it Everton 1, Crystal Palace 2. That's into the second half now, and Villa Burnley will just be getting underway, with Burnley 1-0 up at half-time for that Ashley Barnes penalty, and so too Chelsea Leicester will be getting underway. That is 1-1 at half-time. Maddison for Chelsea, Marcus Alonso equalising for Chelsea. Throw in for Swindon down the left-hand side, on the far side of the field from us, up to halfway. Williams, again, lovely skill from the Welshman, and scurries into the Port Vale half, and he's brought down. That's going to be a yellow card, and Tom Pett accepts the yellow card pretty much straight away from referee Stocksbridge, as he denied Williams as he was darting towards the edge of the Vale area. It gives Swindon a free kick midway point of the half, and Williams is just slowly getting to his feet, having been caught on the ankles by that Tom Pett challenge.
Yeah, Pett knew exactly what he was doing there, that surging run from Williams, and you know, it was cynical, but he had to bring him down, he thought, to thwart the attack, and you can just maybe feel a little bit now the pendulum starting to swing to Swindon's side, and can they take advantage of that?
They've been playing better, but they still haven't forced Aidan Stone into a worthwhile save as yet. They've got a free kick though, midway point of the half. Swung fiercely into the box by Payne, drops at the far post, and Conroy couldn't keep the ball in play, just trickled off the underside of his boot and out for a goal kick away to our right for Port Vale, who still lead 1-0 on the night. It's still 2-2 on aggregate. We're approaching the hour mark on TalkSport 2, and I have no idea which way this game is going. I wonder what Courtney Sweetman-Kirk thinks.
No, I'll agree with you on that. I wouldn't like to put a bet on, let's put it that way, but that ball, that free kick was lovely, in swinging left foot, and I think it's Conroy, that back stick. I think he's going to get cleared. I don't think he quite expects it to come to him.
Change being made by Port Vale. They're the first to make a substitution, and it's Harry Charsley coming on for Jake Taylor, who's had a good game in central midfield tonight for Port Vale.
Yeah, he's had a good game, but maybe, Vale are just looking to freshen it up. I do think the momentum, as I say, has slightly swung towards Swindon. There's less energy in the game, so bringing just a bit more energy into that midfield maybe.
Harry Charsley would love to get to Wembley because he left Mansfield in January to come to Vale Park. He would most definitely love to be out there on the lush green surface at Wembley Stadium against the club who sold him just a few months ago. So he's on wearing number 20 in the all-white of Port Vale. We're playing it now then on TalkSport 2 in this League 2 playoff semi-final second leg. 2-2 on aggregate with Vale 1-0 up on the night, and they're trying to come forward down the left-hand side through Malvin Benning, who's won a throw on this near side. Charsley immediately trying to get involved and moving down the left-hand side, wanting a throw sent to him, but instead it's gone back. Wilson, whose early goal separates the sides here on the night, but has brought them level in the aggregate score. Charsley now trying to make tracks down the left-hand side, but he was well defended by the right back Mandela Egbo, and it goes behind for a Swindon Town goal kick. TalkSport breakfast back in the morning from 6 a.m. with Alan Brazil and his regular Friday cohorts Ray Parler, and Trevor Sinclair will join from 8 a.m. And don't forget Hawksby and Jacobs tomorrow afternoon. Always a fun listen on a Friday. Clips of the week, Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup, the Fools panel, and much more besides, with Paul and Andy from 1 tomorrow on TalkSport. And we've got live Super League tomorrow night as well on TalkSport 2. Mark Wilson will be in the chair once again. Wakefield Trinity in action, I think, tomorrow night in Super League. Meanwhile, throw to Swindon Town in this tense atmosphere at Vale Park, where the next goal is absolutely crucial, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah,
if there is one.
I think you can feel that now in terms of the way that the game is being played, and also the fans around the stadium. There is a tenseness that's sort of crept into the game, and the closer both sides of these are getting to Wembley, I suppose they feel as time ticks on there's more to lose, so it just has become a bit tense and a bit cagey.
James Wilson, lovely pirouette and halfway to get away from his man and feeds it through to Harriott, who's offside. He hasn't heard the flag and he's driven the ball wide anyway, but lovely skill on halfway from James Wilson to get away not once but twice from Johnny Williams as Villa equalise against Burnley. It's 1-1. We'll get the goal scorer for you in a minute, but it is 1-1 early in the second half. In the TalkSport commentary, Sam Matterface, it's Emi Buendia who's got that second goal. We're all in a contest amongst each other, me, Courtney and our producer Izzy.
Who can get it up quicker?
Who got the goal first, and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk wins.
Get in. I'm not competitive at all, I promise.
No. 1-0 to Port Vale. I ain't playing you at Scrabble or Trivial Pursuit or anything like that. I bet you're horrible at that as well, right?
Everything. I mean, Scrabble's your best bet because I can't spell, but
okay.
Yeah, anything else, Monopoly, the board's going everywhere if I don't win. And
oh, you're one of those,
I'm probably taking money from the bank on the sly.
Vale put a cross into the box. It's half clear. Mal Benning goes for goal from 30 yards, quite centrally. Whistles over the crossbar. No trouble for Lewis Ward in the Swindon goal. And it's a goal kick to the Robins away to our left-hand side. Lewis Ward, the Swindon keeper, came in recently for Jojo Wallacott, played the last 5, kept 3 clean sheets in 9 league games at Lewis Ward since he's been handed the gloves by Ben Garner. And his goal kick downfield just drifts out of play on this near side. We're still waiting for Swindon to make a change, Courtney, but as Dan Windle said at half-time, what is there that he can do to change things in an attacking sense? Jaden Mitchell-Lawson, maybe. Yeah, but he's got his 3 best front players out there at the moment. One of them is Jack Payne, driving towards the area, trying to send the ball goalwards, and it deflects wide, and suddenly Swindon Town have a corner in front of their own fans, and Harry McCurdy urging those fans at the Baikal stand in to our right to cheer Swindon on, to try and get themselves level on the night and back ahead on aggregate.
Yeah, he's gesturing to his fans, and as you say, the forward players that you think will make the impact are already on the pitch, and maybe in terms of that forward planning, not making substitutes, maybe looking at the potential of extra time and not wanting to make changes too early.
So Jack Payne to take this left-footed in-swinging corner, whipped into the near post, drops to the far and volleyed over by Mathieu Baudry. Dropped for him on about 6 yards out, and the centre half swiveled and tried to hit the shot, couldn't keep it down, off the top of his boots and over the bar for a Port Vale goal kick. Hearts in mouths for the Valiant fans around us, but it stays 1-0 to Port Vale on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, Baudry there had his head in his hands because he knows it's a massive chance. Again, he's under pressure, and you will be from that corner. There's so many bodies there, but you just see as he hits it, it's leaning back, and then because of, like I say, the way that he hits the ball and the way that he's leaning back, it spins and it goes over the bar. He needs to get a better contact and not get his hip over the ball, so at least get it on target and give Aidan Stone something to do.
1-0 to Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. So as things stand, with 20 minutes gone in this second half, with every second that ticks away, extra time becomes more and more of a possibility here. Throw into Swindon, who've just had, I would say, their best chance of the game there through Mathieu Baudry, but still Aidan Stone hasn't been worked in the Port Vale goal. Maybe he will be now, as the ball sent down the right hand side, asking McCurdy to give chase. It's only half cleared by Vale. Payne tries to drive the ball across from right to left. He found Louis Barry, who did well to keep the ball in play, but Swindon had to go back into their own half to keep possession, which they've done well. Ian Dolo looking for Louis Barry. Lovely turn to get inside from Worrell. It's worked across, looking for Jack Payne, but Malvin Benning steps in to win it back. Proper 50-50 challenge between Pett and also with Johnny Williams, but away come Port Vale with James Wilson. Tries to nutmeg Baudry, but Baudry was too cute for that, and he hits a diagonal ball out to the left hand side. Swindon approaching the box now with Louis Barry. Check it onto his right foot, looking for Johnny Williams inside the box, but it's cleared away and out to play for a throw. And there's boos around Vale Park. I'm not quite sure what for. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, what have I missed?
Well, I think it was a challenge when Mal Benning played the ball through there to Wilson. I think there was a bit of a late challenge on him off the ball, and as you say, then Wilson tries the nutmeg to get caught out. I definitely don't think that's a foul, but in terms of the advantage, I don't know whether that's the booing, but now something's going on as well with Egbo. He's not coming over to the referee who wants to chat with him, and it's just delaying the game.
He's having a ticking off Mandela Egbo, but nothing more. No card issued on this occasion by Seb Stocksbridge. And Darryl Clark is out of his dugout now. We didn't see him in the first half, but he's having a very animated chat with his coaching staff down beneath us. As Swindon restart. Free kick down the left hand side. They've worked it short. Here's Johnny Williams, 30 yards out, coming in field, trying the right footed drive, and it goes wide of the post, and Stone watched it all the way and knew it was going wide. So it's a goal kick once again to Port Vale. A quarter of the 90 to go. Extra time starting to loom large. It is Port Vale 1, Swindon 0 on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. Alongside me, Ian Dancer for the evening, is the Sheffield United women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, and I think Williams did really well there. I like his turn, the way he used the body to shield the ball, and as you say, he gets the shot off, but Aidan Stone, he gets his spatial awareness right. He knows it's going past the post and just watches it back for the goal kick.
Free transfer from Cardiff City in August was Johnny Williams, over 250 club appearances. Crystal Palace fans have fond memories of him. Crystal Palace still 2-1 up at Everton in one of those 3 Premier League games tonight. That's the 7:45 kickoff. Got underway the same time as this game. And Villa and Burnley are locked at 1 apiece, so too Chelsea and Leicester. But it's 1-0 here to Port Vale, which means extra time unless another goal is scored by either side without reply. Here's Josh Davison for Swindon, laying it off to Iandolo, just over the halfway line, on the far side of the field from us, the railway stand side. Davison goes to ground under pressure from two Port Vale players. It breaks for Lewis Reed, who fires the ball out to Egbo on this near side, midway point of the Vale half. Turns and comes infield, tries to play a reverse ball for McCurdy, doesn't come off, but they've kept it alive, Swindon. And then Williams has the ball taken off his toe by Connor Hall. It is a Swindon throw, level with the Vale box on this near side, the Swindon right. And is it Ben Garrity? No, it's not Ben Garrity. I think it's it may well be James Wilson that's gone down there for Port Vale, the goal scorer. Not sure whether it's cramp. It's not cramp. It's something with his right leg, it seems, Courtney. And a lot of the players are coming to this near touchline as a consequence, just to take on some fluids.
Yeah, it looks like they're potentially assessing his knee, or the way they're bending his knee. It could be hip flexor, or, you know, as you say, the players are coming over. Is it one of those maybe tactical ones where you're just stopping the play, stopping the momentum, making sure that the players can get in and have a chat with the manager?
They just gave out the attendance here at Vale Park. The previous attendance that was the top of the season was just over 10,000, but 11,669, including just over 2,000 Robins fans, makes it, unsurprisingly, on a night as tense and as important as this, Port Vale's biggest attendance of the campaign. You're missing none of the action because James Wilson is only now just getting back to his feet and will be heading over to the near touch line. Doesn't appear to be, well, he's walking slightly awkwardly, Courtney, but not too profound a limp there, is there? No,
there's a bit of a limp. Maybe it's just potentially an impact sort of injury, and I'm sure he'll...
Well, he could do with that if Port Vale were to get to Wembley, with Jamie Proctor already missing.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want. So, you know, they'll look at him, he'll probably run it off, I imagine. But, you know, this isn't the sort of game where you want to come off, is it?
Well, Ryan Edmondson has been asked to get himself ready, who is a forward player, so maybe Wilson might be withdrawn to allow Edmondson to come on as Swindon put the ball into the box from the right hand side. Louis Barry lays it off. It's driven goalwards by Davison, is it? No, it's Iandolo with a drive, and it's blocked behind for a Swindon corner as we approach 27 minutes gone in this second half. Swindon corner away to our right. They trail by a goal to nil. It's 2-2 on aggregate.
And hit Worrell, didn't it? And the way that spun off, it could have gone absolutely anywhere. I think Stone was worried about it for a minute.
It's Jack Payne with a left-footed in-swinging corner where the Bycar stand meets the Lawn Street stand. It's a deep delivery to the far post, headed in at the near post by Iandolo, but straight into the grateful arms of Aidan Stone. And he'll hold on to the ball inside his own penalty area. Darryl Clark actually down beneath is going, hold on to it, don't just get rid, eat up the seconds.
Yeah, as well, I think you saw the attack, not enough Vale players got forward quickly enough, and Swindon were back in shape, so if he would have tried to play fast and get it upfield, I think it would have been the wrong decision.
Connor Hall just lobs a hopeful ball down the left hand side, and Harry Charsley gets onto it at the edge of the area, tried to slip it through for Wilson. It's only half cleared. Kean Harrett now inside the box, trying to shift his feet. He's got some space. Harrett lays it up for Wilson, blocks on the line, and Wilson fires the rebound over the top. Massive chance for Port Vale to take an aggregate lead, but James Wilson, who scored in the first half, is denied in the second. I'm not sure whether that's the boot of the goalkeeper or a defender that kept it out, but it stays 1-0 all the same.
Yeah, and there's so much going in that passage of play. Charsley, I think he has to hit it, to be honest. I think, you know, the position he was is just inside the box. I don't know why he doesn't have a go initially, but he tries to find Davison. When it eventually does fall to Davison, when after Harrett's fantastic bit of skill there, he beats 2 or 3 players in such close proximity. It's a really great piece of skill. Davison, I think it was a player on the line rather than the keeper, and then again he just can't keep the rebound down.
Well, the change has been made by Port Vale, but James Wilson's clearly okay because it's Kean Harrett, the Huddersfield loanee, that's been substituted to allow Ryan Edmondson to come onto the field. joined on loan from Leeds United in January. 3 goals and 1 assist in his time was at Fleetwood earlier in the season. Made a couple of appearances in the Marcelo Bielsa era for Leeds United, so he's on. But here comes Swindon with Mandela Egbo, a hopeful drive from good 30 yards out, but it didn't trouble Aidan Stone, and it's another goal kick to Port Vale.
Edmondson, he'll bring a bit of aggression. He's, in terms of, he's quite tall. I think he's 6'1", so he's got that about him. He's good in the air, as yourself say. In terms of being under BLC, you have to be fit, so he's got that fitness as well. So he does bring something a little bit different than Cian Harrop.
In the Premier League tonight, don't forget, Everton 1, Crystal Palace 2, Villa 1, Burnley 1, Chelsea 1, Leicester 1. The final day of the Premier League season will unfold across the TalkSport network. All games kicking off at 4 p.m, and we'll have 2 live games for you, with so much still to be decided, particularly as things stand with tonight's 3 scorelines. Arsenal Everton, Brentford Leeds, Brighton West Ham, Burnley Newcastle, Chelsea Watford, Palace Man United, Leicester Southampton, Liverpool Wolves, Man City Aston Villa, and Norwich against Tottenham are the final day fixtures in the Premier League. We've got a quarter of an hour to go in this League 2 playoff semi-final second leg, and it remains 1-0 on the night to Port Vale against Swindon Town, which means we are locked at 2 apiece on aggregate. No away goals rule, so extra time is on the cards here as Port Vale try and work the ball down the right hand side for James Wilson, looking to see if he's moving any better since that injury. I think he's run it off Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, but he'll be absolutely devastated he's not got a hat-trick tonight, because he missed a sitter before he got the opener.
Yeah,
he's missed that one now.
Yeah, that it was I think he's done well actually with that chance that we've just seen. He keeps it low. I think, as I say, I'm sure it beats the keeper, and it's just the fact that it's good defending on the line, and the defender thinking worst case scenario.
You're listening to the EFL Playoffs live on TalkSport 2 with McDonald's Fun Football. Search McDonald's Fun Football to find out more. Ian Danter and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk with you in Staffordshire on a clear late spring, early summer evening here at Vale Park, and we're still no closer to knowing who will play Mansfield at Wembley a week on Saturday. Ball fired across for Louis Barry, who's offside for Swindon as he picks the ball up just over the halfway line. The assistant on this near side spotted that. Eagle-eyed was Hristo Karaivanov. I would go and look down at my notes and realise I wasn't going to be able to have a job pronouncing the assistant's name.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic effort, Mr. Ian Dancer. That is brilliant, because I would have tried to swerve that.
Lisa Rashid is the other assistant. Everton have equalised against Crystal Palace. It's 2-2 at Goodison Park. Massive goal for Everton, who were 2-0 down, remember. Meantime, Port Vale coming forward, drops at the edge of the area, brought down by Gibbons. It's Richarlison who's got Everton level at Goodison Park. Tom Pett for Port Vale meantime. 1-0 up. If Port Vale get another here, they're going to Wembley. Similarly, if Swindon score, they're off to play Mansfield. Here's Tom Pett breaking through challenges at the edge of the area, but Swindon managed to smuggle the ball clear. Strong challenge from Gibbons leaves Johnny Williams flat on his back inside his own half, and then a long ball downfield is dealt with by Connor Hall, and he slides in. Mal Benning, who gets up to the halfway line, steps inside one man, nutmegs another in Lewis Reed. Charsley out to the left wing for Ryan Edmondson. Edmondson level with the edge of the area, rolls it infield to Ben Garrity. Garrity gets his head up and squares it across to the right hand side, and James Gibbons winding up for a shot, and it's blocked right at source by Johnny Williams, who's flat on his back for the second time in a matter of seconds inside his own half. Here come Vale again, being roared on by this biggest crowd of the season at Vale Park. They just take the game down to walking pace for a moment. Wilson, who scored that early goal to bring us level on aggregate, Down the right-hand side of the box, he's in again. It's hit against him, and the offside flag's gone up against James Wilson. In actual fact, it was hit against him by a Swindon defender and almost ricocheted goalwards. With that goal that Everton have scored, they're now on 37 points, 2 clear of Leeds. Burnley, who've been pegged back by Villa, remember, that's 1-1. They would be on 35 points, same as Leeds United. Burnley entertain Newcastle on the final day. Leeds are at Brentford. Whilst Everton, who are now 2 points clear, they head to Champions League chasing Arsenal. Have you kept up with that? It's like an episode of soap where you've got to update everyone just before the episode begins. Whatever happens, Sunday is going to be absolutely balmy. And the place to be is the TalkSport network, because you won't miss a thing. Meantime, Swindon are readying a substitution to stand beneath us. And the player coming off is Louis Barry to allow Ben Gladwin to come on. Free transfer from Milton Keynes in the summer. His 4th spell at Swindon Town, if you include loan spells. Over 200 club appearances, Ben Gladwin. And Louis Barry, although he's not really had any shots in, he's putting a shift for Swindon Town down the left-hand side of that front three.
Yeah, he has, especially in his second half. He's been a lot better in terms of his forward runs, and he's worked very hard. But now, we've got about 9 minutes left, and it's getting to that time, isn't it, where managers are looking at substitutions, thinking about, one, trying to win the game, but also they've got to mind on extra time and penalties.
As you heard Courtney Sweetman-Kirk say, 9 minutes of normal time to go. Port Vale 1, Swindon Town 0 on TalkSport 2. A scoreline that means extra time as things stand. Port Vale have the ball deep inside their own half, and Gladwin's first involvement is to have the ball hit against him by Mal Benning for a Port Vale throw.
Yeah, clever from Benning there, earns his team a little bit of time.
So here comes the throw from Connor Hall, looking for Charsley to flick it on. Drops for Garrity just shy of the halfway line, tries to head it forward for Wilson, but Swindon deal with that. And here is Jack Payne, just to the left of the centre circle. Plays it at left to Yandola. Payne's gone again through the inside left channel, but that was intercepted well at the back by Gibbons. And the ball goes up to Wilson for Port Vale, who holds it up well, turns and moves the ball into the Swindon half, looking for Charsley, and then that's touched out of play for a Port Vale throw, this time on the railway stand side.
Yeah, Charsley just doesn't check his back shoulder there. You can see the defender coming a mile off, but he doesn't have a look, and if he did, the way that the defender was charging in there with a lot of pace, if he gets a clever touch around, is in a very good position, but just doesn't check.
The League One playoff final live on TalkSport. All the 3 playoff finals exclusive to national radio on the TalkSport network, starting this Saturday 3 o'clock. Wycombe Wanderers against Sunderland. Adrian Durham, Sam Matterface and Mickey Gray, your commentary team at Wembley, which is where these 2 teams want to get to. But they're locked at 2 to on aggregate. Here comes Swindon with Harry McCurdy. Squares the ball left for Jack Payne, who drives the ball into the box. Oh, chested back to his goalkeeper by Mal Benning. And Aidenstone, that's the first thing he's had to do all night, and plunge to his left and make sure that he didn't embarrass Malvin Benning with the chest back to him, because that was chested back at some pace.
Yeah, Benning seemed calm and composed, but I don't think everyone else in the stadium, including Aidenstone, was overly happy with that. But yeah, right as you say, is probably the first save he's had to make all game.
Here comes James Gibbons, driving the ball into the area, gets away from Edmondson, comes out to Tom Pett, works it out to James Wilson, right hand corner of the box. He plays a 1-2 with Pett, goes for goal, and it deflects off Dion Conroy and goes behind for a Port Vale corner in front of those home fans at the Hamel Road stand, away to our left hand side. We've got 6 minutes of normal time to go. 2-2 on aggregate, Vale corner.
I mean, in this next 6 minutes, a goal here, you'd imagine, barring something absolutely spectacular, wins the tie.
So a corner kick where the Hamel Road stand meets the railway stand on the far side of the field from us. A love train of Port Vale defenders now split as the corner's swung in, looking for Connor Hall, who heads it up in the air. Charsley knocks it back in at the edge of the box. Half cleared by Swindon. Driven out to the right-hand side for David Worrell. Worrell, deep cross into the box, headed goalwards and wide by Nathan Smith, who come up again from the back. He had that shot that clipped the outside of the post in the first half. Had to go with his head in the second just there. But it was a good 3 or 4 yards wide of the left-hand post of Lewis Ward. Swindon goal kick. Stays 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, Nathan Smith is trying to do the right thing there. He's trying to head it back across goal, find the side netting or the top right-hand corner and try and go across Lewis Ward, but he just can't find the target with it.
Still 2-2 Everton Palace in the Premier League. Still 1-1 Villa Burnley live on TalkSport. Still 1-1 Chelsea Leicester. Those are the 3 Premier League latest scores for you. Port Vale 1-0 up and trying to get a second that would take them to Wembley. But Edmondson fouls his man on the far side of the field from us, and Swindon get themselves a free kick. 5 minutes to go. Extra time getting more and more likely here. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk's going to need a big coat in a minute.
Yeah, I think, if it goes to extra time, the big coat's coming out. I've not got the Arsene Wenger coat today, though.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that, yeah. With the zip, the 3/4 length. But you find it easier doing the zip up than Wenger ever did.
Yeah.
Poor fella. I always felt for him at that point.
You think they'd have put a bit of Velcro on it for him, wouldn't you?
The camera always seemed to be trained on him just at that exact moment when he's struggling. Free kick for Swindon Town. Just to the left of their own penalty area. And it'll be the goalkeeper Lewis Ward to strike it downfield. Looking for Josh Davison, but come to be dealt with by Nathan Smith. Now Charsley in the centre circle, drifting out towards this left-hand side for Vale. Plays a 1-2 with Mal Benning, keeps it in play on this near touchline, but he's surrounded by Swindon shirts and he has won a throw, has Harry Charsley for Port Vale. Taken quickly. It's back with Connor Hall. Tries to thread the ball up to Charsley. Swindon get it clear, only half clear. Pett climbs high to try and nod the ball down to a teammate, but it drifts out of play for a Swindon throw now. A bit of applause ringing round Vale Park because they're putting the names up of Vale fans who've sadly passed away this season on the display screen at the Hamel Road stand end. Graham Adams, one of the names being shown at the moment. R.I.P. forever valiant, it says beneath the name of Graham Adams. And that's a nice touch because the Swindon fans were joining in with that round of applause as well, away to our right. 2.5 minutes to go. Well, we would normally be bringing you the County Cricketer at 10 o'clock with our following on podcast team, Steve Harmison and John Norman, but that may well be delayed unless something happens here. Gladwin for Swindon Town, tries to work the ball up to the edge of the area, cleared away by Pett for Vale. Everton 3, Crystal Palace 2. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Everton could be safe. They've got 5 minutes to hold out at Goodison Park. The noise there must be extraordinary. But Everton lead Crystal Palace, having been 2-0 down. They're now 3-2 up and heading for safety. This is TalkSport 2 in the EFL playoffs. No thought of safety necessarily from Port Vale or Swindon. It's all or nothing on a night like this. And here come Port Vale with James Wilson trying to win a corner off Ellis Andolo, who drives the ball onto the roof of the railway stand. Is that going to come back? No, it's gone behind the advertising hoardings. Another ball please from this near touchline, and it will eventually be a Port Vale throw. But we've got 90 seconds of normal time remaining, plus whatever Seb Stockbridge wants to add on for stoppages at the end. Have we time for a dramatic winner for either side here at Vale Park?
There's always time, Dance. I think there'll be a couple of minutes as well. There's been some substitutions and a few stoppages, so I'd imagine there'll be an extra 2 or 3 minutes on top of that as well.
David Worrell with a long throw for Port Vale. He wants an option. He's holding his hands out to his side as if to say, I don't have an option. Now it's hurled into the near post. Nathan Smith heads it up in the air, drops for Pett, headed away under pressure there by Lewis Reed. That was good defending at the back for Swindon Town, but it stayed in the Swindon half. Sent forward by Charsley. Swindon win it back again. Johnny Williams sent it down to Iandolo. He in turn has to lay it off. It's driven upfield for Josh Davison. Just couldn't control the ball. Really was fizzed at him, in fairness to the Swindon number 9. And now Harry Charsley giving chase down the right hand side of the box, forcing Conroy to hook it out of play for another throw to Port Vale, as we are about to find out how much added time we'll have at the end of the 90 on TalkSport 2. 4 minutes that we're into now of minimum added time. Vale coming forward. Wilson goes down, free kick at the edge of the area. He was brought down. This is perfect for a left-footed effort on goal. It's to the right of centre, about 20 yards out, and a roar goes up of expectation around Vale Park as this set piece is put together by Port Vale at the edge of the Swindon box. 1-0 on the night to Vale, 2-2 on aggregate.
And as you say, it's in a good position here. It's not too close. It's far enough back that you can get the whip on it to be able to get it over the wall and back down. And if this goes in, Vale Park, it's not got a roof on it, but if it did, I'm sure the noise would blow it off.
Well, Wilson is standing over it. Tom Pett, the captain, is there as well, both debating what to do. Meantime, there's a 4-man Swindon wall and a draft excluder behind it inside the Vale penalty area. Favours the left footer James Wilson from this position to the right of the D. Pett standing over the ball as well, though. Up steps Wilson, left footed, round the wall, and a good save down low to his left by Lewis Ward. Hit with some venom by James Wilson, but not only did Ward get there, he held on to it. Stays 1-0 Vale on the night, 2-2.
Yeah, as you say, he manages to hold on to it. There were so many bodies following that ball in. If Ward was to spill it, I'm sure there was someone ready to tap it in, but does really well to hold on to that ball and keeps Swindon in the tie.
Now Swindon fans trying to raise their team as they win a throw in just inside the Vale half. It's gone out of play for another throw on the left hand side. Still Everton 3, Palace 2 in the last knockings there. 1-1 Villa Burnley, 1-1 Chelsea Leicester. The Burnley Villa game is live on TalkSport right now. That kicked off slightly later than this, but this game could be finishing later than the game at Villa Park. Vale have won the ball. There's a Vale player down at the edge of his own penalty area, but the home side continue with Charsley on the halfway line, trying to get the better of a Swindon defender. It's out of play on the far side for a throw-in. Smith back on his feet. Such tension around Vale Park. Extra time looming. But here come Vale again. Ball's in the area. Ryan Edmondson angles tight, gets to the byline, pulls it back. Marvin Benning tries to go in for a header. Good defending by Egbo, who was fouled by Benning. And Swindon get a free kick. And we played 2.5 minutes of the minimum 4 that have been added. 1-0 Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. You wouldn't, I mean, look, I've been a fan of a team in the playoffs. It is utter gut wrench. I feel for all of these fans here tonight, regardless of their team's colours. The playoffs are wonderful, but they're horrible at the same time.
Yeah. You can see the faces around us, can't you? So quickly it changes. As you say, Vale on the attack there. There's excitement, there's trepidation, and now there's angst on the faces of the Vale fans that we can see. As you say, they're really going through the ringer tonight.
And I think there's just been a reminder gone out over the public address system to ask fans not to invade the pitch, because of course we've had a lot of instances of that in recent times with a more sinister undercurrent to it. We saw what happened, well I saw what happened at the City Ground in Nottingham on Tuesday night. Throw in given to Swindon Town. Darryl Clark agrees with it quite vehemently with Seb Stockbridge, the referee. We're about to tick round past 49 minutes. It was a minimum 4 that was added on, so we're about to find out how much more Seb Stockbridge feels is appropriate. Free kick sent downfield by Swindon, but Connor Hall heads it clear, and there goes the full-time whistle. And this League 2 playoff semi-final is still not decided. It's going to take at least another half an hour, maybe penalties, to decide whether Port Vale or Swindon head to Wembley to play Mansfield. No further score after the first half strike from James Wilson, who had a late shot cleared off the line when it looked as though he'd been teed up by Kean Harrett inside the area. It wasn't to be, and now Darryl Clark and Ben Garner are going to chat to their squads about what to do in the next 30 minutes, because at full time we're heading to extra time. Dan Windle, it is Port Vale 1, Swindon 0, 2-2 on aggregate. Thanks, Dan. Referee just sorting out the coin toss to make sure that the ends are the same, I think. Yeah, Port Vale will be heading for the Bycar stand to our right in the first half of extra time. They're still in stoppage time at Goodison Park, incidentally. 7 minutes were added on. Apparently there was a pitch invasion, unsurprisingly I suppose in the current climate, after Dominic Calvert-Lewin put Everton 3-2 up. So there's been 7 minutes added at Goodison. It's still 3-2 to Everton. They'll be safe, I think, as things stand with that result. And they're still playing in the last 10 minutes of normal time at Villa Park, live on TalkSport, where it's Villa 1, Burnley 1, and at Stamford Bridge, where it's Chelsea 1, Leicester 1. But it's 1-0 here to Port Vale, which is what has brought us to extra time. And Seb Stockbridge waits to get us underway. And pretty much all the Vale players are massed on the halfway line, ready to make a charge down this near touchline at the get-go. And the ball's hit long downfield. Once again, Johnny Williams has been taken out, this time by Ryan Edmondson, on the near side. That's deja vu from the first seconds of the first half. How bizarre. Back underway then on TalkSport 2. Nigel Clough, I'm not sure whether he's here tonight, the Mansfield manager, to take in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Wonder what he will have made of that last 90 minutes from the two teams battling to face his side at Wembley, Courtney.
Yeah, I think we're looking at Port Vale's start and how aggressive they were and overran Swindon. But equally, I think you've got to give credit to Swindon and the mentality to get themselves back in the game, because they quite easily could have been overrun again in that second half and quite despondent because of their first half display. But they've dug deep tonight and made sure that they've kept themselves in the tie in this second half.
Down the right hand side, Gibbons looks for Charsley, has the ball hit against him by Iandolo, and out of play it goes. It's finished at Goodison Park. Everton 3, Crystal Palace 2. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's been so woefully out of form, has given Everton a priceless 3 points as the ball goes into the box for Port Vale. Charsley, a swing and a miss as he tried to half volley the ball home, and Jack Payne clears it downfield. That win means Everton are safe as McCurdy comes forward for Swindon Town but runs into Worrell and then hooked out of play for a throw-in. So yes, finished. Everton 3, Palace 2. Everton now move on to 39 points and cannot be caught. So Burnley, who are still 1-1 at Aston Villa, are level on points with Leeds as things stand with the point they're getting. Leeds go to Brentford on the final day. Burnley entertain Newcastle. But Everton will go to Arsenal with a huge sigh of relief because they've done it. They're safe.
Yeah, it's been a season maybe we weren't expecting for Everton. They're always normally get themselves safe at some point, but it's gone down to the wire this season.
Well, reaction to that in the sports bar with Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders tonight, taking calls after all the Premier League action and this. But stick with us on TalkSport 2 because Swindon are coming forward with Johnny Williams. Finds Jack Payne inside the area. Payne trying to make room for a shot, but it's blocked away. Up to halfway it goes for James Wilson. He lays it off for David Worrell. Worrell trying to turn away from trouble on this near side. Good run from David Worrell, then runs into Iandolo, and that's a throw to Swindon Town, much to the disgust of the Swindon fans. Then Darryl Clark, he's just gone straight into Dion Conroy. The Port Vale manager claiming that Dion Conroy was trying to headbutt him, and it's all got very unseemly right down beneath us here, and the Port Vale manager is right at the centre of it.
Yeah, and it's all escalated very quickly, hasn't it? There's
a melee down beneath us with substitutes, first team players, stewards in there trying to break it up. Meanwhile, Seb Stockbridge is about 4 or 5 paces back, just taking in the scene, and he will certainly want a word with the Port Vale manager, and no doubt with Dion Conroy, the Swindon centre half, as well, after that set too. And that was all about a throw-in that Port Vale felt was theirs, but was given quite clearly to Swindon Town, and it all got very silly very quickly.
Darryl Clark now is saying something to McCurdy. I think he needs to calm down and bring himself out the way.
Well, we haven't seen a replay yet of the incident. We'll hopefully see one in a minute. Darryl Clark's been sent off. The Port Vale manager has received a straight red card for his involvement in that pushing and shoving match with Dion Conroy. Conroy, the Swindon centre-half, is being spoken to by the referee at the moment. Now, what card is Conroy going to get for his part in that? Yellow, to match the colour of his shirt. But Darryl Clark has been sent off a straight red for an altercation on this near touchline with Dion Conroy, and he's now got to watch the rest of the game from the dressing room or from somewhere inside Vale Park, Darryl Clark, because he's gone.
It's difficult, isn't it, in terms of emotions run high. He's getting involved, but I think managers aren't immune from the emotion, but I think as players you look to your manager for that calm and influence to get you through the difficult moments, and unfortunately he's got himself involved there, Clark, and got himself sent off.
Well, that means Andy Crosby's going to have to take care of things for the rest of the evening. We're just watching a replay. The ball goes out of play, and Darryl Clark is trying to keep the ball away from Dion Conroy, and then just barges into him and then goes head to head with Conroy, and that's what the referee spotted. Dion Conroy was not the aggressor there.
No, and it was right near the linesman as well, and I think it's very interesting now, isn't it, these big points in the game. Is this a massive turning point in the game? Now emotions are running high, and this is where people potentially can make mistakes. Obviously we've seen it from Darryl Clark, but the players on the pitch, when your emotions run high, you're not concentrating properly, you're getting involved in things that you shouldn't maybe.
So it's still 11 against 11 on the pitch, and 1-0 to Port Vale. We're only just getting back underway. We've had 6 minutes elapsed in extra time, but there'll be a fair old chunk to add on at the end of this first period. But here come Port Vale with James Wilson carrying the ball up to the edge of the area. Brilliant challenge, but it's worked through. Charsley's offside, the flag's gone up. He hasn't seen it. He's put the ball wide anyway. But that was very, very tight. But Harry Charsley was just offside, and it's a free kick to Swindon.
Yeah, it was really tight, but what a fantastic run that is by David Wilson, then has the presence of mind as well to calmly play the ball through. And as you say, the linesman has flagged it offside, but that was all about Wilson there.
Still waiting for full times at Villa Park, live on TalkSport and at Stamford Bridge. They're in stoppage time. Burnley are down to 10 men. It's still 1-1, but Matt Loughton's been sent off. The former Villa man has gone off a straight red card at his old club, but it stays 1-1 between Villa and Burnley. Meantime, ball's been hooked out of play by Swindon. The score here is still 2-2 on aggregate in extra time. If you're just tuning into EFL Playoffs Live on TalkSport 2 with football, search McDonald's Fun Football to find out more. It's no fun for Darryl Clark. He's been sent off. The Port Vale manager clashed with Swindon centre-half Dion Conroy just a moment ago, and he was given a straight red card by referee Seb Stocksbridge. Ball's worked back to Port Vale on the halfway line. And Gibbons out to the left-hand side, looking for Charsley down the left-hand side of the box, but it was well dealt with by Baudry. Long ball downfield for Swindon, looking to get Josh Davison away. He can't find it. It's just lobbed downfield, hopefully asking for a Vale player to give chase. David Worrell tried to dart in the inside right channel to get away from Iandolo. Squares it in field. Heavy touch from Wilson, and that allowed Baudry to step out from the back and hit a long ball downfield, and sorry, McCurdy's away. Down the right-hand side for Swindon, tries to fire a crossing and wins a corner for Swindon at that Hamill Road stand end, and a chance for the Robins to exert some pressure in extra time.
McCurdy making something out of nothing there, especially so late on in the game. The pace and the power, fantastic run to be able to have the ability and the fitness to get there and play it off the defender for a corner.
So it is a corner kick where the Hamill Road stand meets the railway stand. This to be Lewis Reed again with an in-swinger. Referee just checking for some pushing and shoving inside the penalty area. We played 9 minutes of extra time on TalkSport 2. Still 2-2 on aggregate between Port Vale and Swindon, with Mansfield waiting for them at Wembley Stadium. Meantime, the corner kick swung in, left-footed, right under the crossbar, punched away by Aidan Stone under real pressure, and McCurdy couldn't get a piece of the loose ball. That was good goalkeeping.
Yeah, fantastic under loads of pressure, gets a really good strong punch to that.
But here they come again, Swindon Town. It's driven into the area. Driven downfield though by David Worrell, tied up at the back by Conroy. And also by Lewis Reed, fired downfield by Egbo. Now Vale have won it back. Wilson has only got Edmondson ahead of him, so he squares it to his left for Benning, and then downfield it goes, looking to get Harry Charnsley in behind. It's finished at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea and Leicester share the points. That's finished 1-1 at the Bridge. Still playing on TalkSport Live at Villa Park. It's still 1-1 Villa against 10-man Burnley. Everton are safe. In case you're just tuning in, they've beaten Crystal Palace by 3 goals to 2. They were 2-0 down, Everton, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the winner. There's some dispute apparently at Villa Park as to who exactly should have received the red card. We were told that Matt Loughton had been sent off, but VAR might be taking a look just to add to the tension at Villa Park with the score at 1 apiece. That's live on TalkSport right now. Sam Matterface, your commentator at Villa Park, with the sports bar to follow. But we're nowhere near finished here. 10 minutes gone in the first half of extra time. Port Vale a goal up and 2-2 on aggregate with Swindon, and Swindon coming forward as Lewis Reed drives the ball out to the right hand side. Gladwin swings a high looping centre into the box. Johnny Williams, the smallest man on the field, tries to head it down for Davison, and then the Port Vale defender goes down. It's all scrappy at the dead ball line, and eventually the referee blows for a free kick as Josh Davison was going in too strongly to try and win the ball back, and it's a goal kick. And now it's Andy Crosby in the ear of the fourth official, with no Darryl Clark down there now. Of course, Andy Crosby's been front and centre for Port Vale for a good deal of the second half of this season. Darryl Clark did take compassionate leave from Port Vale and only came back to the dugout just before the end of the season. He was down at St James's Park, Exeter. Finished at Villa Park, 1 apiece in the end. And that means Burnley and Leeds are locked together on 35 points each, with 1 relegation spot. Burnley's goal difference compared to Leeds is really not that different, I don't think. Oh, it is, it's way different. It's minus 18 for Burnley, Leeds minus 38. So Leeds have got a better Burnley's result on Sunday, essentially. Leeds go to Brentford. Burnley host Newcastle United. All the games in the Premier League kick off at 4, and the TalkSport network will have 2 live commentaries for you from 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and we will let you know in due course which games we will be bringing you on the final day. Meanwhile, you're missing none of the action here because Ellis Iandolo's gone down, the Swindon Town left back, looking in some distress, getting some treatment from the Swindon physio. We're drifting towards half-time in extra time, but given all the shenanigans on this near touchline, could be one of those first halves of extra time where you could end up having about 6 or 7 minutes of added time in extra time. You don't get that very often in extra
added
time.
Added time, extra time, all the different times.
Well, our games have been confirmed for Sunday. Brentford against Leeds live on TalkSport. Burnley against Newcastle, live on TalkSport 2. Adrian Durham will host from Manchester City against Aston Villa with Mickey Gray, plus Charlie Adam, fresh back from Seville. He will be at Liverpool versus Wolves. All our build-up starts at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and we'll also have games on the app of other games on the Premier League final day. But back here at Vale Park, we're back underway. Throw in for Port Vale, sent into the box. Remember, Port Vale lead 1-0 on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. That's why we're in extra time, and no closer to knowing who Mansfield's opponents will be at Wembley Stadium a week on Saturday. Pulls out a play for a Swindon Town goal kick. So there you have it. Brentford Leeds on TalkSport Sunday afternoon. Burnley Newcastle on TalkSport 2. And I think Turf Moor is where I will be on Sunday afternoon to see if Burnley can get it over the line. But as I said to you, if they match Leeds United's result, Burnley's far superior goal difference will mean that they are safe. Anything else, if Leeds better Burnley's result, then Burnley go down. Otherwise, it will be Leeds dropping back into the Championship. Here's James Wilson for Port Vale. Working the ball out to the left-hand side, but it's gone behind Malvin Benning. But he still spots Connor Hall coming ahead. 4 minutes of added time in extra time that we're into now, after the touchline fracas that saw Darrell Clark sent off. So we're into that now on TalkSport 2. And a throw for Port Vale, and Nathan Smith has come forward. Malvin Benning is going to presumably launch one into the Swindon penalty area, away to our right at the by-car stand then, and see if one of his teammates can make something of it. In it comes from Benning. Flicked on at the near post, goes through the legs of Nathan Smith and hooked away by the Swindon back line. Headed back towards the edge of the area. Charsley picks it up. It's driven towards goal by Garrity, but loops up in the air for Swindon boot, and that's a comfortable save for Lewis Ward.
Yeah, it's a shame for that Smith, because he's in the right place, but I think just because of the way it deflects, it actually nutmegs him, and he can't get anything on the ball in the end.
Benning for Port Vale again. The left back, or left wing back in this system, hooks the ball high into the Staffordshire sky, and it drops out of play on the far side in front of those fans in the railway stand for a throw to Swindon Town. And it's going to be Mandela Egbo to take the throw, the right back. Josh Davidson has come short. Egbo tries to move inside his man, but it's another throw to Swindon. They've gained a few metres down the right hand side, level almost with the edge, probably the midway point in actual fact, of the Port Vale half. On the right hand side for Swindon, so they're attacking the Hamel Road stand in this first period of extra time. Throws it in and gets it back to Zegbo, but he's got to work the ball back to halfway, and Baudry squares it across for Conroy. Now Iandolo steps infield to get away from Tom Pett for a moment. Another strong run from Ellis Iandolo, gets to the edge of the area, the shot is deflected and will go behind for a corner, will it? Oh, it's kept in play very well indeed by the goalkeeper Aidan Stone to prevent a late Swindon corner in the first half of extra time. 1-0 on the night to Vale, 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, it's a really good surging run, isn't it, by Iandolo, and I think it's a mixture of Nathan Smith getting his body on the line, taking a bit of a deflection, the power out of the shot, and then Aidan Stone on his front foot reacts really well to make sure that it doesn't go out for a corner.
Throw into Swindon now in their left back position, level with the edge of, well, I was going to say level with the edge of their own penalty area, but they've stolen a few yards and pretty much the midway point of their own half. Iandolo throws it in, and he'll get it back from Jack Payne, but then Jack Payne is dispossessed. Tom Pett got the ball away, heads it again in field. Pett chested down by James Wilson, laid off by Charsley to Garrity, and Garrity trying to get Mal Benning away down the left hand side for Vale, but that was well watched by Egbo. And now Harry McCurdy, the former Vale player, been getting the bird all night, drifts in field past a couple of challenges, tries to poke it forward to Johnny Williams, but it's won back by Port Vale Wilson, heavy touch inside his own half, and McCurdy was nearly in again, but what a challenge by Nathan Smith at the back for Port Vale. But it looked just for a moment that McCurdy might be scurrying into the Vale penalty area.
Absolutely fantastic by Nathan Smith. He reads this so well, but then the timing on the tackle is absolutely fantastic.
Nerves all around us. For those in the press box of a Port Vale or Swindon persuasion, neither myself, Ian Danton or Courtney Sweet-McKirk have a dog in the fight. We can just enjoy it as neutrals. Offside flag goes up against the Swindon player. Josh Davison puts his hands over his face. He can't believe he's been caught offside, but he has. And so as we have the whistle blown for the end of the first half of extra time, it's now Andy Crosby's job to raise the Port Vale troops for the second half, because the only notable action of that first 15 minutes was Darryl Clark, the Port Vale manager, being sent off by the referee for an altercation with Dion Conroy, the Swindon centre-half, right in front of our commentary position. Needless from the Port Vale manager. He's off, but it's still 1-0 to Port Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate, second half of extra time on the way. Well, I saw penalties on Tuesday night at the City Ground, and Nottingham Forest prevailed, and a substitution for Swindon Town, and Johnny Williams is not able to continue. He was clattered into a few times during the course of that second half, and Jake O'Brien is on to replace him, wearing number 16 for Swindon Town. Jake O'Brien, who's a centre-back on loan from Crystal Palace. He's not long arrived from Cork City in Irish football, so that's a centre-half, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, for a creative midfielder. Maybe that wasn't an injury, maybe that's tactical from Ben Garner.
Yeah, very potentially so, just looking to make sure that they shore it up, as you would say, and maybe they are playing for penalties.
Well, he's gone into the centre of a back three, it seems to me, as Lewis Reed drives the ball out to the left-hand side. Jan Dolo gives his first touch to Jake O'Brien, and he rolls it across for Mathieu Baldry. Now Ben Gladwin, another substitute who came on in the second half for Swindon Town. Still 2 apiece on aggregate on TalkSport 2, and a free kick as Conroy was brought down. It's worked back quickly to O'Brien. Now Lewis Reed has come deep to pick up possession for Swindon, and it's almost as if those around us at Vale Park are just gathering their strength for one final volley of noise, or maybe they're drawing breath thinking, oh goodness me, not penalties to decide this.
Yeah, I think there's, you feel that pressure, anticipation and trepidation around the ground, and certainly the emotions we've gone all through all sorts today in this stadium. But I think, looking at it now, it's interesting what Swindon have done. I think as you say, the pushing the full-backs right on, and Lewis Reed is dropping in almost as a third centre-half at times. So although it's on the face of it maybe a defensive substitution, actually maybe it's a more of a formational one, and they actually want to attack and go forward.
Sports Bar's underway right now on TalkSport with Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders. Everton are safe in the Premier League. They beat Crystal Palace 2-0 down, but 1-3-2 at Goodison Park. So Everton are safe from relegation. It's between Burnley and Leeds for the final relegation spot. Here's James Wilson for Port Vale, trying a left-footed drive, and it dipped over the crossbar. And that was quite casual from Lewis Ward in the Swindon goal, because that was dipping viciously, and it landed, well, it skimmed the roof of the net on its way over. Fair play Lewis Ward if he knew exactly where his crossbar was. Goal kick Swindon, 1-0 Vale.
Yeah, definitely. He was calmer than I was, I must admit, because the rate that ball was dipping, it did look like there was potential that it could dip it under the crossbar. As you say, it ends up on the roof of the net in the end, but really vicious shot that from Wilson.
Goal kick to Swindon Town. Swindon won the 4th tier playoffs in 1987 against Gillingham over 2 legs. Also won the playoffs twice in the 90s. They were demoted, though, 2 divisions, having won the 1990 playoffs for financial irregularities, but Glenn Hoddle's Swindon got them into the Premier League 3 years later with that extraordinary final. And I remember watching against Leicester City. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, of course, is far too young to remember games like that. I'm right, aren't I?
You are. I'd have been 3 years old.
Thanks. Ball cleared out of play off James Wilson for a goal kick to Swindon Town. Vale, they won the fourth tier playoffs against Bristol Rovers in the days when the playoff final was done over 2 legs, home and away. There wasn't a Wembley showpiece in those days. This is their first playoff year since 1993, when they lost to West Bromwich Albion in the Bob Taylor era at the Hawthorns. Imagine that, they've had to wait this long for involvement in the playoffs. Goal kick sent downfield for Swindon by Lewis Ward. Nathan Smith for Vale heads it back towards halfway. Charsley can't find a teammate in a white shirt, but Worrell just fires the ball downfield, and Jake O'Brien somewhat nervously puts it out of play. Didn't need to do that for Swindon. And Port Vale have a throw midway point of the Swindon half.
Right, I don't think he did, but I don't know whether he could feel Ryan Edmondson breathing down his neck, because he made something out of it there, Edmondson, making sure he's chasing it down and getting a throw in the Swindon half, although
it doesn't come to anything because Charsley's made a Horlicks of it, and he's clattered into Mandela Egbo at the same time as well. So Swindon get themselves a throw in. Played a couple of minutes since the restart of extra time. Still 1-0 to Port Vale. As down goes Egbo again. Wins a free kick this time, just shy of the halfway line, and Baudry plays it back for O'Brien, but referee says wait. Wanted to make sure that Egbo didn't need any treatment. And once again the Vale fans on the 3 sides that they're inhabiting here at Vale Park try and raise their team, and the Swindon fans join in to our right as well. Back underway, suddenly inside the area, Josh Davison has the ball taken off his toe right at the vital moment by Connor Hall. What a vital challenge from the Port Vale number 5. Davison just picking himself up inside the box. He thought he was through on goal for a minute there for Swindon Town. Vale clear the ball up to halfway. Egbo plays the ball in field for Harry McCurdy. McCurdy wins the throw. Does he on this near side? Indeed he does.
Brilliant turn initially from Davison there, the way that he used his body, he shields his ball, opened himself out on his right foot in the box, and you think he's just going to strike it, but Connor Hall with the last ditch challenge, and he has to get it right, otherwise it's a penalty. It's a great challenge. 10
minutes of extra time to go on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs. Port Vale 1, Swindon Town 0 in the League 2 semi-final. Mansfield Town away. Here go Port Vale, but offside. Was the ball taken out of play? The ball was out of play. Ryan Edmondson was trying to make tracks down this near touchline, but he carried the ball over the touchline. Oh no, in fact it's offside in actual fact that's been given, so it's a free kick to Swindon Town, forgive me, but they're taking it short. Jake O'Brien, very tall young Irishman, he's got to be 6'5" at least, thin as a rake as well, the young substitute who's just come on for Swindon Town. Ball's rolled into Josh Davison, holding the ball up 25 yards out. He brings Jack Payne into play. Now Gladwin takes over. On the right wing, Egbo waits, who's pushing forward from right back, looking to take on Benny. Drives for the dead ball line, pulls it back, Egbo across the face of goal, and no one there to touch it home. Stone was at full stretch trying to get it away, but nobody there in a yellow Swindon shirt in front of goal.
Egbo does so well there. He stands bending up. It's a fantastic ball across the face of the box. He just needs someone to gamble on it, because the pace that's on the ball, if you just get a little touch there, it was probably 2 or 3 yards out. You've won the tie, Swindon, but no one gambles on it.
Now a long ball sent to the area, and Davison's onto it, tries to flick it goalwards, and it's carried behind by Aidan Stone for a corner kick to Swindon Town, away to our right hand side. Just a long hopeful ball from Gladwin, helped downfield, and Davison inside the box, right hand corner of the 6-yard area, tried to guide it goalwards. It wasn't going in, but Stone, in sliding in to retrieve it, carried it behind. Corner kick.
He gambles on it that time, and I think he's hobbling. I think it's a little bit of cramp, but you know, the fact that he's made that run, and you're right, it wasn't on target, but he's had to make Aidan Stone make the save, who pushes it out in the end for a corner.
In front of those Swindon fans at the bycar stand away to our right, it's Jack Payne's corner for the Robins, left-footed in swinger, right into the crossbar, headed up in the air, inadvertently by Charsley. There's bodies all around the 6-yard box, including Aidan Stone, who stayed down as the ball's volleyed over the top by Lewis Reed. Stone is still down, writhing around in agony inside his own 6-yard area. The Port Vale keeper, and the referee bids on the physios to attend to him. 7 minutes of extra time to go, and then it'll be penalties, because it's still 1-0 to Port Vale on TalkSport 2, 2-2 on aggregate. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, and they'll be hoping that obviously if it does go to penalties that there's nothing wrong with Aidan Stone here. I think it's just the fact that there's so many bodies. I don't know whether he's potentially took something, a knock to the face, or whether it's the way he's fallen and potentially on a shoulder. You know, the Vale players are coming into management now, getting a drink, and the Vale fans in front of us are applauding him, trying to get the team going, see if there's one last push to get that winner.
Credit to both sets of supporters. They've been magnificent tonight for their teams. Over 2,000 Swindon fans have travelled up from Wiltshire to come here to Staffordshire, but we still don't know how this is going to play out in the end. Are we heading for our second penalty shootout of the EFL playoffs? We've nearly got all 6 finalists sorted out. We know that it's Wycombe against Sunderland on Saturday. We know that it's Nottingham Forest against Huddersfield a week on Sunday. But what of a week on Saturday? Live on the TalkSport network, it's Mansfield against AN Other. And we've got just over 5 minutes of extra time, plus whatever Seb Stockbridge wants to add on for us to find out. 1-0 to Port Vale on the night, 2-2 on aggregate. Edmondson goes in too strongly with a challenge on this near side on Baudry, so Swindon get a goal kick. Free kick, should I say. Midway point of their own half. Now it's Egbo. Rolls it back to the centre half Baudry, but Port Vale win a throw this time. Lobbed hopefully down the left hand side by Benning, asking Edmondson to give chase. O'Brien's there again to hook it out of play with a bit more certainty this time for Swindon Town, but Port Vale have another throw. Less than 5 minutes of extra time remain on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL playoffs. We'll bring you all 3 finals live and exclusive to national radio. You won't get those games anywhere else on national radio, but here across the TalkSport network. Starting on TalkSport Saturday afternoon 3 o'clock with Wycombe against Sunderland. Well, ball's out of play for a Port Vale throw. Do you get the sense, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, that either side is settling, to use that horrible word?
Yeah,
penalties.
And I think, yeah, as you say, it's difficult to say, isn't it, settling, but I think now you look at the players in terms of, you know, physically they're all spent, they've put such a shift in, and don't get me wrong, if the chance arises, as now Vale are gaining a few yards, they'll take it, but I just think you get to a point as well where you don't want to flood too many bodies forward, you don't want to attack because you're scared of what potentially might happen on the counter, and you don't want to lose the game, at least with penalties. You know where you're at, and it's a bit of a lottery, whereas you don't want to lose it in the dying seconds.
Now Benning left hand side wins a throw about 5 yards from the corner flag, with Vale attacking the Hamill Road stand to our left, where Vale fans are packed in like sardines. Long throw going to come in from Benning, maybe, although he might actually give this throw to James Gibbons. Indeed, it is Gibbons that takes the responsibility. He's clearly got a long throw on him. The penalty box is packed with players in white and yellow and green. In it comes from Gibbons into the near post, headed up in the air. Charsley trying to keep it down. It won't stay down for him. Swindon only get it half clear. Worked across to the near side, then a poor touch allows Swindon to bring it away, and it's Jack Payne. He spotted Aidan Stone off his line, thought about going for goal from distance, tries to turn, and it's James Wilson coming back into his own half to win it back for Port Vale. 3 minutes remain. Less than that now. On TalkSport 2. Here come Port Vale again. Down the right-hand side with James Wilson. Lays it off. Now Charsley onside down the right-hand side of the box. Tries to pull it back from the dead ball line. Deflected almost back into his path. But now Swindon get it clear. The game's stretched a little bit now. Diagonal ball trying to pick out Josh Davison. Hits his back, but good defending by Connor Hall for Port Vale. And he slides the ball down the left-hand side for Malvin Benning. 2 minutes to go of extra time on TalkSport 2. Ben Garrity fires the ball downfield looking for Harry Charsley. Lets the ball run across his body. Picks it up right wing. Then lays it off to David Worrell. Worrell's cross into the box. Everyone had gone near post. The ball went far and Swindon can deal with that. Cleared down the right-hand side and Mandela Egbo can bring it away. Poor ball in field though. Straight to Tom Pett, the Port Vale captain. Slides it to Ryan Edmondson inside the box, left-hand side, trying to check inside his man. Good defending by Matthew Baudry that time as he tries to whack it clear. And then Egbo will complete the clearance as we tick closer towards the end of the match and the ball's hooked out of play. But Swindon will keep it in play. Harry McCurdy, right-hand side for the Robins, approaching the right-hand corner of the box, faced up by Connor Hall. Lays it off for Gladwin. Gladwin sends it from right to left to pick out Ian Dolo. 3 in the box for a cross. In it comes over the heads of everyone, just like what happened with Port Vale before. And that will dribble out of play on this near side for a throw-in. And I can finally bring in Courtney Sweet-McCurk after a couple of minutes where it was just end to end.
Yeah, well, what did we say, Dance, about these teams settling? And you were right for the previous 5 minutes below that in terms of the sort of the energy had gone out of the game, and it looked like both teams wanted penalties, but then they've both gone for a final push.
2 minutes of added time. I've just seen that flash up on the ball. We've not got to that yet, but when it goes up from the fourth official, there will be 2 minutes further to play here at Vale Park, and we'll be 2 minutes then away from a penalty shootout to decide who plays Mansfield Town in the League 2 playoff final, live on TalkSport a week on Saturday at Wembley Stadium. Swindon are caught offside, and we go in to that 2 minutes. And now we'll see what these two teams are made of. Now they've seen that board go up, they've seen there's 2 minutes there. Well, you can hear what the Vale fans think. They want one last push from their charges. They have a free kick, but it's right at the other end of the field that their keeper Aidan Stone's about to take.
Yeah, of course they do. They want that one last push. They'd love for this tie to be settled in extra time rather than having to go through the pain, the emotion of penalties. So yeah, the way that this last 2 or so 3 minutes has been played, you'd imagine that both teams now will try and go for it and see if they can get the winner.
Long ball downfield from Aidan Stone, but it just drifts out of play for a Swindon Town throw on the far side of the field from us. Ticking down the seconds then on TalkSport 2. Penalties looming. David Worrell though for Port Vale tries to throw long down the right hand side, asking for his teammates to give chase, and suddenly the ball breaks at the edge of the area. Vale player goes down and a free kick's been awarded, and this is in a similar position to a free kick that Vale had earlier in the second half of normal time that James Wilson fizzed in, but it was well held by Lewis Ward, and I'm sure that Wilson will fancy his chances again here. Yeah,
you'd imagine that Wilson will be over it. It's probably slightly wider than it was the last chance with the free kick. It's more towards the edge of the penalty box, but again it's a very good angle for a left footer. Don't know, because it's so wide, will he go for goal or will he try and sort of hang it up at the back post for a teammate to head in or put in?
He's a striker.
You shoot. As long as you're within 30 odd yards.
What would you do, Courtney Sweet-McCurk? I know what you do.
Shoot.
Of course you would. There's a 3-man, now a 4-man wall for Swindon. No draft excluded this time. It is quite wide. It's pretty much at the right-hand corner of the penalty area at the Hamel Road end. This may well be the last action of extra time. A free kick to Port Vale. Worrell standing over it as well, but James Wilson looks favourite with his left foot. Ward waits on his goal line. It's actually clipped in by Worrell to the far post, headed back across the face of goal and tipped over the crossbar by Lewis Ward for a corner kick, and that is the last action. There is no time for the corner kick, and for the second time in these EFL playoffs. Two sides cannot be separated after extra time, and so Port Vale and Swindon Town will have to take part in a penalty shootout to decide who plays Mansfield Town at Wembley a week on Saturday. We have to go all the way back to the 8th minute for the only goal of the game, scored by James Wilson. It stayed 2-2 on aggregate right the way through to the end of extra time. And so next on TalkSport 2, penalty kicks at Vale Park. And the penalties are going to be taken at the Swindon end of the ground, at the Bycar stand end away to our right-hand side, rather than the Hamel Road end. How many penalty shootouts have you been involved in as a player, Courtney?
I don't think I've got the count, but quite a few. Obviously they're nerve-wracking. I like taking penalties, I like the pressure, so I'm one of the first to put my hands up, I must admit, but obviously you'd expect that from your strikers, and from both teams today you'll expect that they're the first ones to stick their hands up and take that pressure on their shoulders.
I think Vale are still sorting out the order. Andy Crosby's just pointing at one or two as the Vale players are in a huddle just inside the half. Now they move back to the halfway line. Swindon are already lined up on the halfway line, and the referee Seb Stocksbridge is having a word with both goalkeepers, Aidan Stone of Vale and Lewis Ward of Swindon, about what he expects of them in this penalty shootout. We all know what that means, making sure that they at least keep 1 foot on the goal line as the ball is struck. And now both sets of players are strung out along the halfway line in the white of Vale and the yellow and green of Swindon. And I think it's James Wilson whose early goal took us level on aggregate. He's the man that's taking the responsibility first for the Valiants. Yeah,
and he's, aside from the early chance he missed, I think he's had a good game. He's brought people into play. He's obviously scored the goal, had a chance as well, saved off the line, but I think he's had a good performance tonight, and he'll want to be topping that off with kicking Vale off and with the first penalty.
So he's waiting with a 2 or 3 step run up. The Swindon fans behind the goal waving their arms to put him off, but he thumps the ball right down the middle and puts Port Vale in front with the first penalty.
Calm like that. I think he gave the keeper the eyes, left-footed, and he looked like initially he was going to open his body up and go to the keeper's right, but then hammers it down the middle.
Jack Payne, who joined from Lincoln to Swindon in 2020. Lots of goals, lots of assists this season. What's he like from the penalty spot? He's first up for the Robins. It's going to be a left footer from him as well, with Aidan Stone bouncing up and down on his goal line. First penalty's gone in from Vale. Up steps Payne, and he drives it down the middle as well, just as fiercely as the first penalty from Wilson. 1 penalty apiece, 1 all on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, it was struck really well, wasn't it? That little stutter initially on the run-up, but then strides into it and hits it really, really well. And I think sometimes, you've got to walk up to that penalty spot knowing what you're doing, where you're going to go, and sticking to your guns.
Aidan Stone's doing the Alison Becker and handing the ball to his Port Vale player, in this case David Worrell, who's taken the second penalty, one of the longest serving players at Vale. He's second up for the Valiants, and he's touched onto the crossbar and saved by Lewis Ward. Advantage Swindon Town in this penalty shootout. Worrell hit it fiercely, but Lewis Ward got something on it, touched it onto the crossbar and away. And now it's Lewis Ward's turn to hand the ball to his next penalty taker.
I think it was a strange run-up for that. Everyone's different, don't get me wrong, but he walks away from the ball back to goal and then turns very quickly and then runs up. I'm not sure I feel about that run-up in terms of having the time to associate yourself with where the goal is.
It's Jake O'Brien who came on as a substitute with this next penalty for Swindon Town with their second. Sends the keeper the wrong way. So it's Ben Glavin in actual fact who's got it. So 2-1 to Swindon after 2 penalties apiece. Gladwin just rolling the ball into the corner. So it's 2-1 to Swindon Town after 2 penalties apiece on TalkSport 2.
It's a brilliant feeling that as well, when you take the the penalty after the other team's missed, so you know you've got your team's nose in front. It's a fantastic feeling. It was calm and composed, opens his body out and just slots it in the corner.
Ryan Edmondson on loan from Leeds United with Port Vale's third penalty. Very straight run-up from Edmondson, standing on the 18-yard line. Lewis Ward waits again, bouncing up and down on the goal line. Up steps Edmondson, right-footed, saved! A second miss from Port Vale, and Swindon are on the brink. This time it's Edmondson who fails from 12 yards, and it stays 2-1 to Swindon, but they're about to take their third penalty for the former Vale player, Harry McCurdy.
And as you say, it was a very straight run up there. He runs round the ball to the left, and then he looks like he's just trying to place it in the bottom left hand corner, but keeper guesses right, and it didn't have enough power on it to trouble the keeper.
Well, now McCurdy, can he be the scourge of his old club in this penalty shootout? Just a one-pace run-up and blasted over the bar. Dreadful penalty from Harry McCurdy. He puts his hands in front of his face. The former Vale striker, well, that's still rising. That's landed in Stoke-on-Trent. 3 penalties apiece. 2-1 to Swindon Town. And Harry Charsley's up next for the Valiants.
And it's a big moment here. He needs to score to keep his side into this.
Hands on hips, Charsley waits up against Lewis Ward, right-footed, scores. So that's the second penalty scored for Port Vale. It's 2-2 at the minute, but Swindon haven't taken their fourth penalty quite yet. I think it's Lewis Reed that's coming forward to take it for the Robins.
Composed by Charsley, that in terms of that moment, it's a big moment after McCurdy's just missed, and to open your body out, stroke it into that bottom right hand corner. It's a side netting as well, so it was a very well taken penalty.
Lewis Reed was at Peterborough before he came to Swindon in August. Began his career at your club at Sheffield United, Courtney. He's next up. Remember, this is Swindon's fourth penalty. It's 2-2 at the minute. Reed can put Swindon on the brink here. Very straight run up from him as well. Trots up towards the ball, right-footed, sends the keeper the wrong way. So 3-2 to Swindon Town, and now Port Vale have got to score their final penalty.
How cool was that penalty? The run-up, it was almost like the Paul Pogba run-up. It was so slow, it was almost a walk rather than a jog, but when he gets there, brilliant. Sticks to his guns and just slots it in the corner to the right of the keeper.
So it's the Port Vale captain, Tom Pett, who has the responsibility, and he has to score for Port Vale. If he doesn't, Swindon are through. Pett, right-footed, and he puts it into the roof of the net. Good finish. There was no way that Lewis Ward was getting anywhere near that. But now Josh Davison has Swindon Town one kick away from Wembley Stadium. He will have Swindon's fifth penalty.
Look at Pett as he's walking away. He's speaking to his keeper. He's telling Aidan Stone that he's got this. It's a fantastic penalty under pressure. Top left-hand corner. No keeper saving that. But what a big moment now for Davison.
9 goals on loan from Charlton Athletic this season. Josh Davison can now take Swindon to Wembley with this penalty. Stone waits on his goal line. Up steps Davison, right-footed, saved! We go to sudden death! Goodness me! Who wants to go to Wembley? Aidan Stone guessed right. And after 5 penalties apiece, 3-3 on TalkSport 2.
Wow, the sound in this stadium now. You think that was the winning goal for Vale. The place absolutely erupted, but rightly so. It's a massive save from Stone to keep them in the game, and now it's Garrity, ball in his hand, walking up, and we're back to sudden death. We almost start again. Joined in June from Blackpool, did Ben Garrity. Been used as a centre forward sometimes this season in the absence of some senior players. 3-3 after 5 penalties apiece, so we are now in sudden death. Garrity against Ward. Port Vale's 6th penalty. Garrity blasts it down the middle into the roof of the net, and now Swindon have got to make sure they don't miss with their next penalty. Another fantastic penalty under pressure. No keeper is saving that. I think it takes bottle to go high, because you're running the risk of going over the bar. But it is a lot harder for the keeper to save, and it's a really good penalty. And now Vale are in front.
Just looking to see who it is that's taking the sixth penalty for Swindon Town. Is it Baudry? The centre half?
Yeah, I think you're right.
It is Mathieu Baudry. So he has to score to prolong the competition. Stone waits on his goal line. Right-footed effort into the roof of the net, although Stone got a hand to it. So on we go on TalkSport 2. It's what have we got now? 4-4.
It was close as well, that one. He gets a hand to it. He goes the right way, but again, it's high. You're playing the odds. And although Stone gets a hand to it, there's too much power on it.
So that was Conroy who took that penalty. Do forgive me, I've got him and Baudry mixed up there. It's definitely James Gibbons taking the next penalty for Port Vale in sudden death on TalkSport 2. Hands on hips, right-footed effort, sends the keeper the wrong way, and again the pressure back on Swindon Town, and this time it'll be Mandela Egbo with the responsibility to keep this penalty shootout going.
I love it from Gibbons, the way that he's gesturing his going up to Egbo. I'm not sure about that. I don't like that, to be honest.
No, there's no need for that. No, he was gesturing to the supporters, and then he wasn't right next to Egbo as he walked past him, but about 10 yards. He was certainly saying something to the Swindon fullback.
Yeah, a bit unsavoury for me. I'm not a fan of that, but the way that, you know, the pressure, the way that he celebrated with the fans, Gibbons, I like that a lot. And you can just see the relief in his face after he scored.
So Mandela Egbo is next up. Joined as a free agent from the New York Red Bulls. He needs to score to keep this penalty shootout going. The Swindon Town fullback jogs on the spot, runs up to the ball and rolls it down the middle. That's in. 5 penalties scored, each out of 7 taken. And now Malvin Benning's up next for Port Vale.
He's walking up, and now Egbo is staring him down. Now it's going back and forth. I don't know.
Oh boy.
There, what James Gibbons has started.
There's some body language out there, and then some. So Malvin Benning now has the responsibility. Running out of space on me page of paper. Free agent after over 250 appearances for Mansfield. He wants to play Mansfield at Wembley. He's next up for Port Vale. The left footer Benning drives it into the corner. No way Lewis Ward was getting away in that. Smashing penalty. And on we go.
Love it. Left footed. Goes across the keeper to the top right hand corner. Absolutely fantastic. And now it's starting again. Mal Benning is now trying to get in the head. The Swindon Town player walking towards the penalty spot with the ball.
That is
Ian Dola, I believe.
Yeah. He's just spotting the ball down, Ellis Iandolo, as Aidan Stone retreats back to his goal line. So again, Iandolo has to score for Swindon Town. Left-footed over the bar. It's all over. Port Vale are going to Wembley. Joy and confined at Vale Park. Here comes the pitch invasion. Port Vale are in the League 2 playoff final. They came from behind to level the tie on the night, and now they've won the penalty shootout after Ellis Iandolo blasted the ball over the bar. And so Port Vale will play Mansfield for a place in League 1 as the Swindon players make their way off the pitch. And I'm having to keep my eyes wide open to make sure there's nothing unsavoury going on out there. 1 or 2 Port Vale fans trying to wind up the Swindon players as they leave the playing surface. There's no need for any of that, but most of the support is joyous. And Port Vale, having been 2-1 down from the first leg, have got themselves level, and there's an altercation going on down beneath me. Mandela Egbo getting involved with some Port Vale fans, having to be wrestled away, and a few of his teammates have to go in to protect him. Well, this is really ridiculous.
The minority there ruining it for the majority. Most of the fans are behaving themselves just in total joy. what's happening with their club, but it's again sour scenes. It's horrible to
see. And of course there's Vale fans taunting the Swindon fans at the bycar stand end. Again, why? What purpose does that serve at this point? Elsewhere around the pitch, there's people just wandering around.
I think there's now
taking it in.
Bottle being thrown and objects being thrown from the Swindon fans.
Oh, there's a Port Vale fan who's straddling the crossbar at the bycar stand end. There's two of them on there. Just ridiculous. We're seeing too much of this. Now there's bottles being thrown in from the Vale fans into the Swindon fans. What on earth is going on? Bottles being lobbed into the away end. Swindon fans wisely making their way to the exits to keep away from it. What on earth is going on with the way people support their football team and what it makes them do when it should be about joy and should be about celebration? When the more sinister side of the support of our game comes to the fore at moments like this.
Really sad because, you know, the moment for these Port Vale players, for the fans, this should be joyous.
More bottles being thrown from both sets of supporters into the Swindon fans and coming back the other way. Police are trying to move in to clear the supporters away, but it's taunting. There's no other way of putting it from the Vale fans who've made their way to that far end. The Swindon fans, just most of them trying to move back either to the rear of the stand or leave by the exit.
Yeah, it's awful. You see the Vale fans here, look, they're supporting with the... No, they shouldn't be on the pitch, let's have it right, but the ones here, they're trying to celebrate with the rest of the fans. I think the owners are up there as well, and that's who they're directing that to. We don't need to see this in terms of what we'll see tomorrow in terms of the media, the papers. It should be about, you know, the players that have scored the penalties, the keeper, the heroics, not this nastiness that we're seeing over to our right-hand side.
I can see Aidan Stone, who's being mobbed by fans, well-wishers, let's put it that way, you know, who are giving him pats on the back and slaps on the back of the head for the efforts he made in that penalty shootout.
The thing is as well, this is a moment where the players should hopefully be going round the stands, keep the fans in the stands. They could go round and celebrate with the fans, but it's taken a moment away for the players as well because they can't celebrate on the pitch.
It's happened again, I'm afraid, Dan Windle, a pitch invasion that I guess we could have predicted, especially as Port Vale, the home side, are the victors, but it's been marred by bottle throwing and taunting of away supporters. I can see Swindon fans trying to break seats away to my right-hand side to try and throw those back at Vale fans. But whilst this somewhat regrettable scene is playing out, a seat cover has indeed just been thrown from the away end in towards those Vale fans. Most of them are now moving away, with the police now having a line across the dead ball line. But I wondered when I was driving up here today, Dan, whether I would see this or see something unseemly, and unfortunately I have. But at the end of it all, Port Vale are going to Wembley. They've beaten Swindon Town 6-5 on penalty kicks.